You rented the 38-foot obstacle course. It was returned damaged.
Yes.
We didn't rent from them.
Just a second.
We told her, your dog ate our obstacle.
Do you have pictures of our dog chewing it?
I don't want to hear you again.
This is Judy Justice. Tabitha and Brandon Robinson are suing their customers, Aaron and Sandra Lang, for property damage and loss of income.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, everyone.
Case 2152, Robinson versus Lane.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How long have you been in the business of renting party equipment?
We've been in the business about 2.5 years.
And when you started the business by purchasing how many pieces of equipment?
We purchased 3 used units.
3 used?
Yes, obstacle courses. And we rented them out. And then we saved the money and then progressed renting them out and getting more.
Now, the jumper that you rented to the defendants.
Yes, ma'am.
Was one that you bought used or one that you bought new?
I bought it new.
When?
I bought it on 7/19/21. I have the receipt for it.
I'd like to see it, please. Okay, and what you rented from them was a 38-foot obstacle course.
We didn't rent from them.
Who did?
Some friends of ours did. They used our property for their daughter's Sweet 16. They paid the Robinsons. They signed the rental agreement. We did not.
Is that correct?
Sandra's actually the one that handed me the cash.
Did somebody sign a rental agreement?
Yes.
Who was it?
It's a lady. Her name is...
Okay, so let me understand that this is... let me frame it. You rented this piece of equipment, which is a 38-foot obstacle course, to someone whose name is... And according to your complaint, it was returned damaged.
Yes.
You say it can't be repaired, although you tried to patch it.
Right.
And you want the cost of a new obstacle course, and while you paid $4,500, you want $9,000.
Well, I have a list of loss of rentals because people...
You're not entitled to that. Okay. More important, I want to know how you think if these people were not signatories to your rental agreement, why would you sue them?
When we went there...
May I see that, please, by the way, while she's telling me the story?
When we went there to drop it off, we did all the... I dealt completely with Sandra. They run a business in their property, which is for parties. She said they do cigar club parties, they do Sweet 16 parties on their property.
Okay, got it. You do this as a business?
So, yes, we run...
The answer is yes.
Yes.
You use your home property? Is it your home property that you use?
Yes.
So you have a large enough piece of property that other people who want to make parties for their children do them at your house?
Yes.
So you took physical custody of this?
No.
Who did?
The renters, the people...
No. In physical custody, not legal custody. We're not talking about legal custody. You took physical custody and put it on your property.
The people that signed the original rental agreement were on the property at the time that they dropped it off.
I don't care. It was on your property.
Yes, it was on our property.
So that's a yes.
Yes.
So it was on your property, but used by somebody else, and they were just using your property.
Yes.
Is that correct?
I had it rented out on Sunday, so when I dropped it off, I told Sandra that we would have to come at 6:30 in the morning to pick it up, to clean it and deliver it the next day. She agreed to that, because normally we don't leave it overnight if it's going out the next day, because we need to sterilize it. When we got there at 7 in the morning, we came in and we were getting ready to pick up the 38-foot obstacle. I noticed that the dogs had chewed, and there were 2 dogs, a boxer and another dog, were still running around and lifting their leg and urinating on the bouncer. We told her, your dog ate our obstacle. There's pieces of the vinyl, which I have pictures of it, where your dog just ate it.
Pictures of our dog chewing it?
Just a second. I don't want to hear you again. I tried to ignore you quietly and figured you'd get the message. You don't shout out here. Go ahead.
My husband said, excuse me, miss, we have a problem. Your dogs have eaten our obstacle. So then she went in to go and get her husband. Her husband came out. He signed paper saying he was responsible for loss of rentals and the damages or replacement of it.
May I see it, please?
Yes. And also he sent text messages to our phone that same morning apologizing and saying he would do everything to replace it, plus the loss of rentals that we were going to lose.
I'd like to see those texts, and I would like to see his signature on a piece of paper assuming responsibility.
And then...
Just a second.
And here's the text messages.
Oh, would you show this to Mr. Lang, please? Did you sign that, sir?
Yes.
Okay.
I signed it under distress.
Under distress?
Under distress.
There's no such thing. You mean duress?
Duress. She was...
Just a second. There's a difference between distress.
Duress.
Okay. At 7:29 a.m., you said, I, Aaron Lang, recognize and acknowledge that a jumper obstacle course has been damaged from a dog. I will take care of the repairs and work with the rental company and its owners to get this resolved ASAP. And then, about 15 minutes later, you wrote, I'm so sorry again. Let me know when you drop it off, please. Okay, so you tried to drop it off the next day.
I was trying to drop off the next day to Albert, our repair guy.
Just a second, just answer my question. It doesn't require a long answer. The next day, you were trying to get it resolved, and you're back and forth with him, let me know, etc., etc. And then you don't hear from him.
No.
Then it stopped. Tried calling you, I tried messaging you to get this resolved.
Yes.
Okay, well, Mr. Lang, there's no question. You acknowledged the damage and you agreed to pay for it. That's what you have. Can I have that back? You acknowledged in here that you would take full responsibility for this. What's your defense?
My defense is when they arrived on the property to pick up their jumper that was left unaccounted for over...
No. When they arrived...
But when they arrived and they announced to us that there was damage to their obstacle course.
Well, they came to you first.
Right.
Is that... Don't speak. They came to you first.
Yes.
You came outside.
Yes.
Okay. And when you came outside, you had a conversation with whom?
I believe Miss Robinson.
With Mrs. Robinson?
Yes.
Okay. And what did you say to her and what did she say to you?
She just went hysterically, like upset that the jumper was damaged, and that's when I went inside and
Just a
talked to
second.
husband.
What did she say?
She just started crying, and she,
Started to cry.
yeah, she's like, your dog's damaged my obstacle course.
Just a second. So she was crying.
Yes.
And did you have any issue when she said to you, your dog's damaged my obstacle course? Did you see what was bitten off from the obstacle course? That's either a yes or no. The answer is yes. Okay, what kind of dogs do you have?
A German Shepherd and a Boxer.
And where had you stored this unit overnight?
It was left outside.
In the backyard, in the front yard?
We live on a huge ranch, so it's a 2.5-acre parcel, and it's been known that our neighbor dogs always hop
I don't want to hear neighbor dogs. I don't want to hear coyotes. I don't want to hear bears.
My witness, he is
Just a
the
second.
repair guy.
Stand up, sir. I don't need an explanation of this. I'm not going into the repair jumper business. Thankfully, I have a job, and I'm too old to learn anything new.
And later today,
You have the phone.
I do.
To this day, I am still paying for the data for that phone.
That's a lie.
Just a second.
I literally
Just a second. Cut off your data, let her get her own plan.
Tabitha and Brandon Robinson claim their customers, Aaron and Sandra Lang, refused to pay the costs of repairs after damaging their jumper house.
Okay, now I'm going to get back to you. So now your wife comes in to get you, and you went outside.
Yes.
And
I go outside.
who else is there?
Just my wife and I.
So just the two of you?
Just the two of us were home.
And they were there?
And they were there.
Both of them?
Yes.
Okay.
And their daughter.
Okay, and?
I go outside. Miss Robinson is completely hysterical, crying, just out of control in hysterics.
Okay.
Her husband's yelling, screaming,
Now
profanity.
tell me, I want you to tell me exactly, no, I want you to tell me exactly, she's crying, and he starts yelling.
Yes.
Well, you came out and said what to them when you came out? And then I want to hear exactly what was said.
I asked to see the damage, for them to show me what was going on, what had happened. They showed me the damage. We both took pictures. Again,
No, you both took, just a second. So he composed himself long enough to take pictures.
Yes.
And you were composed enough to take pictures.
Yes, I was.
Which you have.
Yes.
And then what happened?
Throughout their screaming.
No, I want you to tell me. Now you're taking pictures, and...
Brandon is on the phone with their repair guy of some sort.
Okay, so he's on the phone. He's composed enough to be on the phone. Now, before he got on the phone with his repair guy, did you discuss with him your responsibility to take care of the damage? That's either yes or a no.
Yes.
Yes. So once you said, I'll take care of the damage, he got on the phone with his repair guy.
Before I agreed to take care of the damages, before we discussed that, he was already on the phone.
Okay, and then he got off the phone, but you signed this the same day. So I want to know when in this conversation you signed it. You need something to lean on. Somebody has to give you a piece of paper. Somebody has to get a pen.
I did not fill out that piece of paper.
You don't have
Tabitha
to.
is the one that filled out the piece of paper in their vehicle.
Who did?
Miss Robinson is the one that filled it out in her vehicle.
Okay,
and then
so
handed it
just
to
a
me to
second.
sign.
So she got in her vehicle.
Crying in hysterics.
I don't care. She got in her vehicle, and where was her husband?
Outside loading the bouncer.
So he was outside.
Yes.
She went inside her vehicle, and he was busy.
Yes.
And you live in a house,
Yes.
and you felt pressured.
Yes.
You felt as if you were being extorted.
Bullied. Yes.
Did you go inside to call the police?
No, I did not. I should have.
Yeah, but you didn't.
I did not.
You went over to the truck where she was hysterical. She wrote out this document, right?
Yes.
And you signed it.
Yes, I did.
There we go. Make my life very easy. Did your repair guy try to fix the bouncer?
I do have a receipt where we did have it, tried to get a temporary patch where we paid $600 just to make sure we could still rent it out. So that was paid for. This is my repairman. He is my witness. And then also I do have a paper with an estimate of what it would be to repair the obstacle.
May I see it, please? After he did this job, which he did on October 4th, from the 3rd to the 4th, did you rent it out?
No, we tried to, but I have pictures that I brought of what happens when the air flows through. The patches won't stay. You have to go up inside the bouncer and actually put a patch on the inside and the outside, and it would cost more money. My witness he is
Just a second.
their guy that can tell
What
you.
you're telling me is that your witness prepared this estimate of what it would cost to repair the jumper.
Yes.
Stand up, sir. I don't need an explanation of this. I'm not going into the repair jumper business. Thankfully, I have a job, and I'm too old to learn anything new. Did you prepare this estimate to fix the jumper?
Yes, ma'am. That is the full estimate to repair it properly.
To do it properly?
Yes.
Okay.
The first one was a temporary repair.
Listen, I got it. I'm a fast learner, and anybody who watches this program better learn to think fast too, because I have a lot of things to do today. So you prepare this. So for $2,500, in addition to the $600, did they pay you the $600? So in addition to the $600, so in total, $3,100 would fix the jumper.
Correct.
Great. That's what you agreed to pay, sir. You agreed to do the repairs on the jumper. Now, you want a new jumper. You're not going to get a new jumper. You're not going to get damages for lost income. He's going to fix the jumper. How long is it going to take you?
Roughly about 2 days.
2 days. Piece of cake. $3,100. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
This court is adjourned. I don't owe them anything. I didn't rent the bouncer
I'm just happy that we're going to have our bouncer repaired.
because they're money hungry.
They're looking for a payday.
The truth always comes out, and what's right is what's right.
So initially, after reading the papers, I thought the plaintiffs, while perfectly matched in their tops, were suing the wrong people because these people didn't sign the rental agreement. So any damage or any agreement to pay damage, I was with you from the beginning that these are the wrong people. It came out that they had a little bit more involvement, the defendant, than they wanted.
They agreed to pay.
Exactly. He knew he did the wrong thing. He probably saw his dog destroy the jumper from the kitchen window and felt bad and knew that it was his responsibility. I don't think that they deserve $9,000 for a brand new
No,
jumper, but they deserve to get it fixed and to keep making money off of it.
Right.
Case 2178, Glad versus Sawbird. All parties, please come forward.
Serenity Glad is suing her ex-girlfriend, Jennifer Sauber, for unpaid loans.
Ms. Glad, if my memory is correct, you are suing the defendant for a series of small loans that you claim she owes you for, and those loans were created, according to you, during a period of time that you and the defendant were either involved in a relationship and or engaged.
Yes.
How long do you know each other?
We've known each other since May of 2021.
And there came a time when the defendant came to live with you, or you went to live with the defendant?
I moved to Colorado to live with her.
And when was that?
That was in May of 2022.
When you moved in with her to Colorado, were you working?
Not at the time, no.
What kind of work did you do in Colorado?
I was unemployed.
How'd you support yourself?
A friend of the family helped me out due to my disabilities.
Who pays you rent?
The friend of the family.
Do you own a car?
I did.
Do you now?
No.
Are you working now?
Not at the moment, no.
Prior to that?
I was out in Colorado.
Working.
Yes.
For whom?
It was a local coffee shop.
Okay. Now you're living together, you are a couple. At some point you became engaged. Then something happened. What happened is probably irrelevant. What I want you to tell me is, from the point that you moved in, what loans do you claim you made to her?
I had paid part of a vet bill.
When was that?
That was at the end of May. I have the invoices here.
And what makes that a loan?
Because at the time she didn't have money and she had agreed to pay me back when she had gotten a job.
Did you agree to pay her back for this vet bill when you got a job?
No, ma'am, the friend of the family was going to pay for it all, but she insisted on paying it.
Tell me about that.
So in the vet office, I was messaging the friend of the family, and he was willing to pay it in full, and she was like, no, I'm going to pay for it. You need to quit asking him for money. I was like, he is the person that supports me right now. We do not have the money, so he's going to help us. She said that she would pay for half of it, I believe it was.
For half?
For half.
Okay.
So it was like $100.
How much was it?
$170.
Let's keep moving on.
I've been paying my data on my phone, and she keeps turning it off.
Just a second. I can't help you with that.
I understand.
You know, I'm not one of those, what do they call them, geniuses?
Genius boy.
Yeah, I'm not a genius person. Not with phones anyway.
Serenity Glad claims her ex-girlfriend, Jennifer Sauber, refuses to pay back loans given to her during their engagement.
Now, what other loans do you think she owes you for?
I had bought her tires for her car.
When?
That was on June 17th, I believe.
Were you using the car?
I was using the car
Okay. For how long were you using the car?
about 2 months,
And what were you using the car for?
getting to work.
So at that point, it was as much your vehicle as it was hers because she wasn't working. So you took the car to work.
Yes.
And the car needed tires.
Yes.
And?
So I ended up paying for them just for safety reasons, given that.
Well, it's your safety. You were driving it.
That's
Right?
true. Yes.
Let's move on. Next loan.
On top of that, I had to pay for vet insurance for her dog.
She didn't have to.
Just a second.
Sorry.
And then even after I had left Colorado, she asked me to leave her dog on the plan and just pay me.
You
back.
have your own animals?
No.
No. So after you left Colorado and you were no longer a couple, did you request that she continue to pay for the vet insurance? That's either a yes or a no.
I don't remember.
Well, she says you did. How many months did you pay after you left Colorado? Show me. After you left her, you were no longer a couple. How many months did you pay?
I had ended up paying
Just the months?
2 months,
And how much were those 2 months?
$71.46.
What's next?
After that, the biggest one is the phone that she has.
Tell me, when you got the phone, when she got a new phone, because I assume she had a phone, is that
Yes.
right?
I actually had just bought a brand new phone, and I insisted that I didn't need a new one.
What kind of phone did you buy?
iPhone 11 mini.
And?
I got the phone, and I have a hard time seeing, and I didn't have glasses, and I was like, it would be nice to have a larger phone. We actually originally went to get us on the same plan. I was going to keep my same phone, but I was looking at the phone. She was like, well, let's both just get new phones. I was like, that's not a good idea. She was like, well, let's just get them. It's fine. So I traded in my old phone for about $400, and we got the phone, and the agreement was, since I traded in my old phone, I still had to pay off the old phone because I just got it. So the agreement was I pay off my old phone, and to keep the service on, I would pay for my service and my data, and she would pay off the phone itself. That was our original agreement. And then a few weeks later, she's like, I never said that.
Okay. How much did you end up paying for her phone?
As of currently, there's $575 paid on her phone.
Do you still have that phone?
I do.
Can I see that there's $575 left on her phone? Not because you got two when you got new phones. So just hers.
I have this.
Is that for one phone
That is
or
just
two?
for one phone, yes.
Okay, would you show this to the defendant, Kevin, please? And you have the phone.
I do.
And you're not paying for it.
I'm paying for the service for what we
Service.
agreed
I'm
on.
not talking about service. That receipt is for one phone.
Yes.
It says your phone was a little over $1,000.
Yes.
What was put down on the phone was almost $400. There were some payments made, and what's still owing on the phone is $514. That's what it says.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. And you have the phone.
I do.
Great. So 7146 and 514 is 585. Anything else?
To this day, I am still paying for the data for that phone.
That's a lie.
Just a second.
I literally
Just a second. Cut off your data, let her get her own plan. She'll go in, she'll get her own plan. Right now, what's due and owing on the phone is 514. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
I've been paying my data on my phone, and she keeps turning it off.
Just a second. I suggest you get a new plan. You have your phone, get another
I've
plan.
been trying to, but she keeps...
I can't help you with that.
I understand.
You know, I'm not one of those, what do they call them, geniuses?
Genius boy.
Yeah, I'm not a genius person. Not with phones anyway. Okay, 7146 and 514. my math is almost correct. It's $585.46. That's what she owes you.
400
Judgment for the
of that
plaintiff.
is
We're
from my
finished.
old phone.
Judgment for the plaintiff. That's what she owes. That's what she owes on it. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
I'm okay with it.
I do think it was a very fair hearing.
I'm okay with it because I, just want things to be all right between us because she's still my best friend and I still love her.
I mean, I feel the same way. I do love her. She's my best friend. Same exact thing. I just hope things smooth over.
So I think naturally when you're engaged to be married to someone or when you're married or even in a very serious relationship for a year, you don't keep a laundry list of expenses. I took you to dinner this night for our anniversary, here's your half. We went on vacation, here's your half. So it makes it that much more important when you're in a serious relationship like that because in the eyes of the law, those things are sort of a wash in a relationship. So if you believe that something is really a loan, that you've both decided as partners, I know we're together, I know we do things together that we both cover the expenses and pay for, but this $1,000 phone is outside the scope of that relationship. Let's just write something down so that we remember that although we're together, this was a loan. It makes it all that much more important because...
And simple.
And simple, because otherwise the law is going to look at your relationship first and determine, is it one of those wash dinners or is it something that was legitimate? So it would just make it a lot simpler, and if things don't work out in the end, easier for you to get your money back.
I think you're right.
Thank you.
Order, all rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2064, Singleton versus Free.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Singleton, your case is relatively simple. It is your claim that the defendant's unleashed dog bit your dog.
Yes, ma'am.
And you incurred vet bills, and you want Mr. Free to be responsible for them.
That's correct.
Mr. Free says that it's true that his dog did bite yours on the leg,
Yes, ma'am.
but that your dog was on his property and your dog was the aggressor. That's your position.
Correct.
Okay. And you were walking two dogs.
2 dogs and my nephew.
Nephew was a baby.
Yes, he was 3 years old, and my dog was 3, and the large dog that was bit, he was 12 at the time.
So you have a small rat terrier,
Yes.
I think. And your larger dog is what kind of dog?
A Siberian Husky.
And what kind of dog do you have, sir?
I have a Italian Mastiff, Cane Corso.
That's a big dog.
At the time, he was about maybe 12 months old, so maybe a little bit over a year. So he's bigger now, but yeah.
How much did he weigh?
At that time, probably about 80 pounds.
Tell me about your property, sir. You
Well,
have a photograph of your property?
I do.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Okay. Here's a couple of them here.
Miss Singleton, this incident happened when?
Christmas Day of last year, around 12:30, right before we had Christmas lunch.
Weather was okay?
Oh, it was great.
And how close do you live to Mr. Free?
I don't live anywhere near him. I actually live in Stone Mountain, but I was going to my parents' house for Christmas, so we were walking around the neighborhood. He lives almost directly behind my parents' house.
And I see that while there are driveways here, the front lawn extends all the way to the street. Is that right?
Yes.
And you were walking both your dogs, and were they leashed or unleashed?
They were leashed.
Both?
Yes, they were both leashed.
And Mr. Free, you sort of acknowledged that both of our dogs were on leashes.
I've only seen one dog. I didn't see 2 dogs, and I didn't see a child either. It was her and a dog, so.
The dog that you saw, what kind of dog was that?
Looked like a husky. Looked kind of like a wolf, so I'm not sure.
So just a second. So you saw a husky.
Correct.
Did you see the plaintiff?
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you one more time.
Okay.
Was the husky on a leash?
I guess yes. I guess.
The answer is either yes or no.
I'm not sure. I wasn't,
Okay, well,
I
if
wasn't
you're
looking
not
at the
sure,
leash.
she says the husky was on a leash.
Yeah, so I'm not going to deny her dog.
Okay. And your dog at the time was on your property unleashed.
My dog was on my property, period.
Your dog, pay careful attention. Your dog was on your property
Correct.
unleashed.
Correct.
At 12:30 on Christmas Day, what were you doing?
I was putting up a basketball goal I had just bought for my children for Christmas in the front yard with my dog next to me.
Okay. What I want you to do is this a picture of your house?
That's a picture of my house from the other side of the street. Correct.
That's fine. This is a picture of
Yes.
your house.
Yes, it is.
The answer is yes. Kevin, what I'd like you to do is take this photograph to Mr. Free. I want him to take a Sharpie. Do we have a Sharpie or something? Okay. You have a pen?
Yes, ma'am.
And tell him to make a circle where he was and an X where he saw for the first time Miss Singleton and her dog. X where you were. Just where you were. You personally.
Okay.
And put a circle the place where you saw Miss Singleton for the first time. Okay. So you were in the front yard.
Correct.
And that looks about 30 feet away from where you saw Miss Singleton for the first time.
If that.
From here to here.
I'll say about 20 feet. It's not as big as it looks on that picture. It's a pretty small yard.
I would say it's about 30 feet from where you put the X.
Yeah, sure.
It's all the way past the house. You're at the one side of the driveway. You have an entranceway to your house.
Correct.
And then you have, is this front a living room?
Yes, it is.
A living room, which is past that. And where you made a circle, which is a very large circle, is probably 10 feet away from the edge of the house.
Yes, that's what I know.
So I said it's about 30 feet away.
Okay.
And now I want you to put, can I have your pink Sharpie, please? Thank you very much. I want you to use this and put in this picture where your dog was at 12:30.
To get your understanding, you want
12:30. I want you to put a mark where your dog was immediately before you saw Miss Singleton and her dog.
Before, thank you. You're not going to be able to see.
Okay, great. Great. So your dog, according to you, was right next to you, about 30 feet away from where Miss Singleton was when you saw her.
To be honest
with her
with you,
dog.
he kind of moves around the yard. He doesn't sit still very much, so.
Well, you understand, Mr. Free, that even if your dog is on your property, you're supposed to maintain control of your dog all the time.
In which I
You
do.
understand that?
Yes, I do.
You understand that?
Yeah.
So if your dog is able to run 30 feet without being connected to you,
He didn't run.
just by walk, cha-cha, tap dance,
Uh-huh.
pirouetted, however he got there, your dog got 30 feet away from where you were.
Correct.
Your 80-pound dog. Ultimately, her case comes down to she was walking her leashed dog.
Your Honor, there was no 3-year-old. I didn't see any 3-year-old.
Just a second.
Okay.
I don't care what you saw while you were busy putting together something for Christmas in your front yard. If you didn't see it, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. If you didn't see it, it just means you didn't see it. She tells me she sees it. She remembers walking her 2 dogs. You only remember 1. She has 2 that she was walking at 12:30 Christmas Day. The fact that you only saw 1 means you weren't paying attention to where your dog was.
Or they wasn't there.
Well, that's pretty stupid, Mr. Free.
I mean, it doesn't make
That's
sense
pretty,
to
that's
carry
pretty,
2 dogs
Mr.
and
Free,
an infant
Mr.
down
Free,
a neighborhood you don't
Mr.
even belong in. I mean, you
Mr.
don't
Free,
from.
Mr. Free, they're only going to take 1 voice.
I understand.
They're only going to take 1 voice, and that's mine. Let me tell you why your argument is stupid. Because it doesn't make any difference whether she was walking 2 dogs, or 4 dogs, or 8 dogs. It doesn't make any difference whether she was walking with or without a 3-year-old. Ultimately, her case comes down to she was walking her leashed dog. I haven't figured out whose fault it is yet. She was walking her leashed dog, and your dog ran, walked, pirouetted, cha-cha, whatever it did, to her dog out of your control. Was not under your control because it was not leashed. Do you understand?
I understand.
Now, I can take away everything else. Not that I'm going to, because I believe that you were distracted, you didn't see it, and I believed her that she was walking with her 3-year-old nephew.
Yes, ma'am.
Nephew and another dog that you didn't see. But that's not the issue in this case, whether she was with another dog, another child, or with anybody else. The issue is, whose fault is it that a dog was out of control? So, now you're going to tell me what happened at 12:30 on Christmas Day, just so that Mr. Free doesn't think that I'm picking on him.
Okay.
Which I'm not.
I know.
You may think I am, but I'm not picking on him. You're walking with your husky
Yes, ma'am.
on a leash.
Yes, ma'am.
What happened?
I was walking with my nephew. He's
No,
3 years old.
no, just listen to me.
Okay.
Listen to me carefully.
Okay, just walk down the street.
I
Okay.
said you're walking. I got it in my mind.
Okay.
But so Mr. Free doesn't think that I'm being unfair to him, because he doesn't remember what he saw. You're walking your husky
Okay, only him.
on the street. So your nephew didn't get hurt.
That's
Your rat terrier didn't get hurt.
That's correct.
Okay, so now you're walking your husky on the street, and
Okay, and then all of a sudden we see a dog charging towards us. And
who's we?
Oh, I called me my nephew and my dog's we.
No, now it's just I saw.
I saw a dog charging towards us. That dog and Leon got into an altercation, and then Leon turned around to try and kick the dog in the face, and he grabbed his foot and he let go.
Okay,
but then
let's go much slower.
okay, yes, ma'am.
You saw a dog charging towards you,
Yes, ma'am.
and
that dog got into an altercation with my
your dog.
Yeah.
Tell me about that initial altercation.
At first, they were biting each other's muzzles. and-
Okay, so they were both biting each other's muzzles.
Yes.
Okay,
My dog turned around to try and, I guess,
No, don't tell me what he was trying to do. Your dog, turn around.
He kicked the dog in the face.
Your dog kicked his dog in the face.
Yes, he grabbed his leg, punctured it, let it go. Leon kicked him again. This time he grabbed his other leg.
Okay, so your dog kicked that dog again.
Twice, yes.
His dog again.
Yes, ma'am.
And?
That dog that time grabbed his leg, had a good hold, and shook it immediately. And then that's when I knew his leg was broken.
No. Don't show me pictures.
Okay.
First I have to find whose fault it is before I look at pictures and vet bills.
Okay.
Okay. Now, when you saw his dog charging towards you, and your dog's name is Leon?
Yes, ma'am.
On a leash.
Yes, ma'am.
On a leash. But it's a big dog.
Yes, ma'am.
How much does it weigh?
Leon, 75 pounds.
So about the same as the defendant's dog.
Yes.
And it's a senior dog.
Yes, that is correct.
Has your dog ever had a history with another dog? I want to say it again. Has your dog ever had a history of an altercation with another dog?
No, ma'am.
Has your dog ever had a history of an altercation with another person?
No, ma'am.
And I assume if I asked you those questions, you would give me what answer, sir?
I would say no,
You would say no because?
because my dog has never had any problems with any dogs.
With any dog?
Any dogs, person.
Any other person?
Correct.
So you would acknowledge, Miss Singleton, that I'm going to show you this photograph of Mr. Free's house. And what I'd like you to do is show me where, according to you, let's get her a different color pen. Do we have a different, well, we have, that's
This is
the same.
blue.
I'd like you to make a P, to just put a P,
Okay.
where the dogs first made contact.
Okay. It's not on this photo.
Is it on this photo? Do you have a photo?
I do have a photo.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
Here.
Would
Oh,
you
these-
please? You make
This is his home, and this is where it happened, right underneath the tree.
Put a P where?
Oh, so what you're saying is, where you put the P, that the dog was in the street.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Were you in the street?
I sure was.
I would like you to put a D in this picture where you say, did you see Mr. Free?
I did not until he came and retrieved his animal.
Did you see where he came from?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Did you see anything being assembled in the yard?
Once we were leaving, yes.
And what did you see?
A basketball goal.
A basketball goal.
Yes, ma'am.
And is that what you were putting together, Mr. Free?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you show me where that was, please? It was here.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, Mr. Free, you're putting something together. The first thing you hear is a kerfuffle, some sort of a...
No.
What do you hear? My job that I'm really good at
Okay.
is telling when people are peeing on my leg and trying to tell me it's raining.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Now, I could tell immediately from your body language that you were beginning to tell me a whole bunch of who shot John. So I suggest to you, Mr. Free, that if you tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory. Now, I want to explain to you why that's so important. Did you hear Miss Singleton? Miss Singleton actually said that her dog nipped yours in the face.
Correct.
She said that.
Correct.
She didn't have to tell me that. She said her dog not only nipped your dog in the face, because they were fighting muzzle to muzzle, but afterwards kicked your dog twice. Do you understand? That's what she said.
I heard that, yeah.
That's what she said about that. That's sort of, that's sort of surprising. That would seem to someone.
Surprises me
as
that
a-
dogs can
What?
get up on their front legs and kick too. So I don't know what she's saying to you, but I don't know. I didn't see it
Listen-
kicking.
listen to-
The fight lasted like 3 seconds. It wasn't. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Do you understand when you're not telling the truth, Mr. Free?
Well, I think what you read
Important-
from me is
important-
me responding to a whole bunch
No,
of stuff that was
no,
said that didn't
No,
happen.
what me
So,
responding
Okay.
to you is your body English.
Okay.
That's me responding to you because you were putting together this thing, but you said it was here.
Correct. It was in the driveway. It's pretty big.
Well, this isn't a driveway, sir.
That's-
grass. That's what you marked where you were. And you marked where your dog was in the
You
grass.
asked me where I
And
was.
Just a second.
Not the basketball goal.
No, I asked you where you were.
Yeah,
and you
that's
said
what
here.
I want.
And then you just said to me, please read it back. Where were you? And you said, I believe he said he was in the driveway.
Correct, it was in the driveway.
I
Right.
apologize. Excuse me.
Just a second. Driveway.
Okay.
Do you understand?
I did.
Eventually, it noodles its way out, sir. The same way it noodles its way out to my memory is correct, in your answer you wrote down, you saw them for the first time in the street.
On the, what we call a curve. It's a small slope that comes up from down. Not all the way in the street, no.
No, here, you see what happens, Mr. Free?
Yeah.
What you just said to me belies credulity.
Well, I'm trying to
Now,
get
just a
precise
second,
as I
but
can.
not
Excuse me.
because, I've lived on this planet almost 80 years. And if I have a choice between walking in the street and walking in that little dip that's designed to take rainwater away, I don't walk in that thing because I'll get killed. I'll break my legs. And you certainly don't walk in this little thing if you're walking two dogs and a child. You don't walk in that little drain that's carved out here to take rainwater away. You walk either on the grass, on everybody's grass,
Correct.
or you walk in the street.
Makes sense.
And you, sir, would have me believe that the plaintiff walked all the way around the block, walking on people's grass. Other than that, she would have to be in the street and decide, well,
Sometimes
I
it's
think I'm going to go up
unavoidable,
on
but
the
no,
grass in
but-
this
but
guy's
I wouldn't
house.
say that.
What?
Sometimes it's unavoidable, so I'm not saying that at all.
Sir, I have to tell you something.
Yeah.
You're going to pay her vet bills. Your dog was out of your control and was in the street, not on your grass. In the street. You had no control over your dog, an 80-pound puppy. Now, the dog could have, just playfully, knocked over the 3-year-old and hurt the 3-year-old. Could have, didn't. Got into a scuffle with a dog approximately the same size. Her dog was leashed, within her control. Your dog, you had to run from where you were putting this together and come and get your dog.
Your Honor,
That's what you
the
said.
dog under control doesn't manage to do 2 jump kicks and a,
Not a
and
jump
a bite.
kick, sir.
No, just a second, sir. You can do that if you're on a leash. Her dog never left her hand.
Your Honor, the
Your-
injuries was to the
this
hind
isn't-
feet
this
of the
isn't-
dog.
This isn't, Mr. Free, this is,
Okay.
maybe your wife lets you get away with that, sir. I don't. This is not a tap dance. This is not a recital or a rehearsal. You made a picture of where you said this happened. I don't believe you. That's what it's about. I believe that this occurred on a public street, and on the public street, you had no control of your dog. You decided to let your dog stay outside. You haven't had any trouble with your dog before, so you wouldn't have anticipated that your dog would run out into the street, because if your dog ran out into the street and a car hit it and killed it, whose fault would that be?
That would definitely be mine.
That would definitely be yours, right? Do you think that you might sue the person who hit your dog? You might try. You might try. You might say, oh my God, they should have been going slower. Oh my God. Do you understand? You're the owner. Dogs are animals. They're not as smart as you are. But when your dog charged out into the street, it could just as easily have gotten hit by a car. That would have been your fault. But under those circumstances, you would have said it's the car's fault. Your dog was out in a public street outside of your control, and it's a big dog, and you should be more careful. If you want to keep your dog outside while you're putting something together and keep the dog on your property, put down a stake, put the dog on a lead, and let the dog stay outside with you. But if you let a 12-month-old, 80-pound dog run loose and it runs into the street, you, sir, are responsible for the consequences. What was your vet bill?
It was $1,832.64.
Judgment for the plaintiff. We're finished. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
I don't think that I was 100% responsible.
I'm glad it was swift and easy, honestly.
From my perspective, it lasted for about 3 seconds.
I was trying to fight with this man for a while. I'm glad it's over.
Might have happened in that 3 seconds, but it was too fast for my eyes.
Honestly, it was kind of traumatizing, especially since I had a 3-year-old with me, and I had to quickly think and just pick him up before the dog got him.
I think they just fought and my dog won.
Bring the Judy justice, baby.
I watched the show. I know how she gets down, you know?
So, as you know, we have 2 large, pretty docile golden retrievers at home that are now 8 and 12 years old. But even when we have family that comes over,
Framework of this case, you're suing your parents for money that you put into a truck that belongs to them.
Correct.
And they are counterclaiming for money that they say you owe them for a balance of a dog they purchased for you. The truck that you fixed belonged to your parents.
Yes, the agreement was it.
No,
it
the
belonged
truck
to
that
them,
you
yes.
fixed belonged to your parents. And
Correct.
what I gather is that you would come into some money. Is not an
Oh,
answer.
yes, ma'am.
And when did you come into that money?
I never came into any money from them after I fixed
Not
the
from
truck.
them. I didn't say from them that you came into some money.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh is not an answer.
I'm sorry, yes, ma'am. I came into
So I
in
want
October.
you to, in October, you were not employed.
I was employed.
By whom?
Construction.
Is that their company?
No, I was working with them and their brother.
So you were working with the family?
Yes.
Okay. That was in October.
Yes,
October
ma'am.
of 2021. It's not an answer.
I mean, yes,
yes
ma'am.
is an
I'm
answer.
sorry.
And how much did you come into?
About $10,000 for the month of September and October.
And then your father said to you, I assume, you should take some of that money and buy a 16-wheeler truck so that you...
No, ma'am.
Well, how did that happen, sir, that you
So-
got possession of your parents' truck?
So it...
Did you try to buy a truck on your own?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay,
And
in
that
what
deal
month?
failed.
Just a second. In what month did you try to buy a truck for yourself?
January.
January of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
And tried to buy a truck so that you could have your own truck for long hauling and business.
Yes, ma'am.
And you went to a dealer and you found the truck that you liked, but you didn't qualify for financing.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and how much is a new truck?
That truck, it wasn't new. It was a 2015, and they priced it at $60,000.
60.
Yes, ma'am.
And you told your parents about that?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
there was a discussion that they had an older truck that wasn't running.
It needed minor work.
It
that
needed-
was told to me.
Okay, so they said to you it needs minor work. Was it running?
It was running, but the diamond seal was cracked, so eventually the truck was just going to break down completely.
Okay, so you took that truck with the understanding that you were going to repair the truck, and then what?
To make money. But
So you would repair the truck and then use it,
Yes, ma'am.
and you would keep most of the profits from using that truck. I mean, I'm trying to understand what the agreement was.
My dad, Nathan, told me that the truck was only going to be worth $4,000 to fix, which was a diamond seal. It needs some bushings. It needs something for the exhaust pipe. And I was like, okay. But when the dude kept calling me for the truck, and he was like, okay, this needs to be done.
But you took the truck into a mechanic.
Yes, ma'am.
And did they give you an estimate?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, before or after they did the work?
They gave me one before, but I don't have that estimate, but I have the one for after.
You mean after they completed the work, they sent you a bill?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's not an estimate. An estimate, sir, is when you go in and say, here's a truck. I want you to give me an estimate of what it is to have it fixed. And they give you an estimate, and then you determine whether or not you want them to do any or all of that work, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I would never bring a truck into any mechanic or to any dealership
Well, when
mechanic and say, fix it.
When they was calling me, telling me additional problems that was wrong, I would call them, which I have my phone records that show that I was also calling them once the dealership called me to fix the truck.
Well,
because some
just a
stuff
second.
on the truck wasn't able, like it needed a new gear, it needed new transmission was messed up on the truck.
Just
which
a second.
called.
All I want is what you're telling me that your father told you to go ahead and fix those things each time you got a call?
Yes.
Okay, so you would call him in, and your father would not say to you, well, how much is that to fix?
Well, yeah, he was, but I had already had a settled amount that I told him that I was willing to spend, which was $10,000.
Well, did you spend $10,000?
The truck was actually over $10,000.
I understand to fix
But
it,
I
but you
did-
actually
they did have
spent
$10,000.
you actually spent the $10,000.
$10,900 to be
Okay,
exact.
to fix the truck.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have the truck.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think the truck was $13,000 to fix.
Yes, ma'am.
So you paid the additional $3,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Now the truck is running.
Yes, ma'am, it's running. It was running before, Your Honor.
But it's running now better because
ma'am.
there are
Yes, ma'am.
because
using it.
just a second, I can only hear from one of you. He said the truck is in use. You said no.
It's not used, or is the truck?
No, Your Honor, I misunderstood what you said. I thought you was talking about the repair. You saying is the truck operable now? Yes, it's operable, but it's not on the road.
It's not on the road. Who
Yes,
cares
ma'am.
if it's not on the road?
Oh, yes,
The
ma'am.
idea
Ma'am.
was he was supposed to fix the truck and supposed to be able to use the truck.
Yes, ma'am.
Is he able to use the truck?
Yes, he's able to use the truck.
Okay, great. When was the last time he tried to use the truck?
He never tried to use the truck after it was fixed. He said that he no longer wanted to be a part of the deal to give him his money back.
Okay.
I have something. Now, when the truck originally got fixed in February, my dad came into town multiple times. It was one more piece that needed to be fixed, which was the ABS module, which if you get pulled over, they're going to stop you and shut you down completely.
I don't know
And I told him, hey, we need to get that fixed. He came into town 3 times, and I asked him, hey, are you going to take the truck to the shop? Hey, are you going to take the truck to the shop? He said no. And he's like, well, it don't have any insurance. And it was just a whole bunch of excuses why he couldn't take the truck to the shop.
Whether he can or he can't, he says, and your mother says you're able to use the truck.
But I don't have a CDL, so I'm not able to drive it.
Well, you didn't have that when you took it in anyway, to be fixed.
But I didn't take the truck over there. He drove the truck to the mechanic shop.
Whatever, I don't care who drove it there, but your agreement with him was you tried to buy a new truck. It was much too expensive. Your agreement with your parents was that you would take an older truck of theirs that needed a lot of work, and you took it into a mechanic, and the mechanic was going to fix the truck, make it operable, so that you would have an opportunity to use it and make money.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I'm asking you, now the truck is fixed to the tune of $13,000. When was the last time that you asked to use the truck that your parents said you can't?
Well, I asked him, can I have his dad take the truck to get the additional piece put on, and he told me no, just to wait till he come into town.
Okay. Was the additional piece put on the truck that he's talking about?
No, ma'am, it didn't actually need that addition. It was an ABS modulator, which on that particular model was a 1995 FLD Classic. On that particular model, you don't need that to reset the ABS light. All you need is a sensor that goes in the hub of the wheel.
What I'm asking you is, your son said that you needed this one part. This is your business.
Yes, ma'am.
How much is that one part?
This is a part that I never researched, so I can't tell you that. But according to him...
So perhaps I didn't ask you anything. Perhaps you can tell me.
The part was $900.
That was returned back.
It was never returned because they wouldn't let me return it because it's dealing with wires. So when I asked them, can I return it, they said no. And I had a text where I texted her and I said, hey, they will not let me return this piece.
Return what piece?
The ABS module. They will not let me return it because it's electrical and they do not accept returns on electric pieces.
So is what you're telling me that you bought this piece for $900?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and that it wasn't necessary. You didn't buy it from him.
No, but I don't know if it was necessary, but what the mechanic told me and what
you can't tell me what the mechanic told you.
Well, I'm just saying the mechanic told
No,
me
you
that
can't tell me what the mechanic told you. Well, all I'm telling you, Mr. Shaw, is you had an agreement with your parents to fix a truck and then to be able to use it. And I want to know whether they have ever denied you the right, because that was the contract that you made. You never made a contract with them that you would take a truck to the mechanic and they would pay for the repairs. You never made that contract with them. You want me to say that that was your contract with them. They say the truck is operable now and that you can use it. When do you want to use it?
Well, if they're willing to let me use it, then I want to use it as soon as possible.
Okay, and you can drive the truck?
No, I was going to hire a driver.
Okay, and the truck now is not on the road, is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes, ma'am, that's right.
No,
That's right.
the truck is not on the road.
No, ma'am, it's
is
not.
what you said, but operable.
Yes, not operable.
Okay, and after the agreement that your son was going to pay the money, fix the truck, and then be able to work at it so that he's getting some benefit from what he put into the truck.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have an agreement?
I wanted to ask...
I'm not looking at you.
Okay.
Did you have a discussion with him about how much of the time he would be able to utilize the truck, or was your agreement with him that he could use it at will?
I gave him a specific time. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to hear what the specific times
were. The specific time was...
Don't, let's make it up as we go.
No, ma'am. I'm thinking straight to you. I'm going to tell you just like it out to you. I gave him specifically, according to him, about 3 months when he probably needed it, to get himself together.
No, just a second. You mean he was going to spend $10,000 on fixing the truck and you were going to let him use it for 3 months?
Well,
put your hand down. I'm not talking to
you. Well,
you.
as long as he needed it. I'm going to put it that way. As long as he needed the truck.
Okay. So now that's better.
Yes, ma'am.
So that he can use the truck whenever he needs it and he's going to get a driver. I just want to know because we're going to have to memorialize all this in an order. What do you want?
We had a driver. My brother was the driver.
I don't care whether your brother was the driver or not. That was not the agreement that your husband said he made with his son.
Yes, ma'am.
He says he made an agreement with him that if he paid to have it fixed, he could use the truck whenever he wanted to. That's what your father says.
No, that is not true.
Okay, so
true.
when did you ask to use the truck?
So in January, when I was getting the truck fixed, they told me $4,000. But as the mechanic kept calling me, adding on stuff, I said, hey, I'm not about to pay all this money, and y'all telling me I could just use it. If I'm about to put all my money into it, I want the truck. And my mom was like, okay, you can do that, because in January, they didn't make any money.
Just a second. So what you're telling me is what you said to your mother, I'm not going to put in all this money unless the truck belongs to me.
Correct.
Well, that's not unreasonable, Mr. Shaw. I can actually see that. You're spending $10,000 of your money and you want to be able to use the truck. And you want it to be able to not have it on a whim of somebody else.
Yes, ma'am.
How old is this truck?
This truck is exactly 22 years old.
How long have you owned it?
I've owned it since I was 23 years old.
Okay, so you've owned it since it was new?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you make a living from it?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Good. Do you have other trucks now?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
How many others?
Just one other. I'm not no big scale company. I just got one other truck, yes, ma'am.
Can I see the title to the truck, please?
To the truck we're talking about?
Yes.
I don't have that title with me.
Why not?
I was under the impression that I didn't need to bring it.
Okay, and according to you, the truck's not on the road now?
No, ma'am, it's not on the road.
Do you remember having a conversation with your son about, I'm not going to spend all this money unless the truck is mine?
Yes, ma'am, I do remember that conversation.
Do you remember where it took place?
He was driving and I was at home.
So it was over the phone?
Yes, ma'am.
Remember what month that was?
January.
January of 2022.
Correct.
Tell me what you said to him and what he said to you.
I told him, I totally understand what you're saying. I said, let me talk to your daddy and we'll see what we could do. But
great. As a parent, that sounds perfectly reasonable. And did you speak to your husband?
Yes, I did.
Did the two of you own the truck?
He owns the truck. It's in his name and Nathan's name.
So you said, okay, that sounds okay. Let me talk to your daddy. You have to talk to the owner of the truck because
Correct.
now you're seeking to change the agreement. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And after you spoke to your mother, did you have a conversation with your father about the ownership of the truck?
Yes, we did.
And tell me when that was and what was discussed.
It was in January as well, and when I told him that, he said he totally agreed with me that if I put in majority of the money, that I can have the truck.
Okay. I want to tell you certain things sort of ring true to me. If I were a young person and spending all my money for a business, because this is the business that he was going to be in, he was going to hire a driver, he was going to take a certain amount of the profits. I could understand him saying to his parents, who now have a truck that they're not using because it's not on the road, I'm going to spend all my savings, it looks like, because the initial estimate was $4,000, but it kept going up and up and up and up and up. So if I'm going to spend all this, put your hand down. If I'm going to spend all this money, I'd like to own the truck. And in response to that, his mother said, and acknowledges that she said, it sounds right to me, I'm going to speak to your father. And according to you, you spoke to your father, and your father said, sounds okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So you went ahead and spent the money.
Yes, ma'am. So I was showing bank statements where I had sent them money. So
No, I
that's
don't-
what these was
Yeah.
for. But I have it on my phone, but I don't have it in the statements.
Well, I need it.
Here you go.
Is that the one final invoice?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see it.
And then also I have at the bottom where it says it needs the ABS module.
Your Honor, can I see that as well?
Yes. Well, so the entire amount is $13,000.
$13,000 and some change.
And your father paid $3,000.
Yes, ma'am.
This is not the correct invoice.
What?
I have the original invoice.
Fine, I'll take a look
It's
at yours.
the invoice that was sent to me by their email, which I can pull up their email as well.
And it shows that it's paid on the back.
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
It's the same thing as he showed me.
But it has our name on it.
Who cares?
The ones that he showed you, it changed since then.
Well, but let me ask you a question.
No.
Unless I'm missing something,
No.
you're not questioning the fact that he paid $10,000 to fix the truck out of the $13,000 that the truck was. Are you questioning that?
No, I'm not
Okay,
questioning
then I don't know what we're talking about.
Okay.
Let's go over this one more time. When your son said to you, if I'm going to spend all this money, I want to own the truck, and your wife had the same conversation with you, right? She said, I got a call from Levi. Levi said if he's going to spend all this money, he really wants the truck, and she actually thought it was okay. And what did you say, sir?
I said that I'm not going to sell you the truck.
Why?
I will let you use the truck.
No, when did you say that?
Because I have other children.
Oh, no, but
And-
your other children didn't put any money into the
No,
truck.
I know.
No,
what
just a
you're saying.
second. Your other children didn't put
I
any
know what
money
you're
into
saying,
the truck.
but that's like
Hand down.
He didn't
Okay.
ask me to buy the truck.
Okay.
Donna. He asked her to use it.
Just a second.
He was going to sell it to my uncle because when the repairs got done, they actually didn't have enough money because I had $8,000 saved up. They took $4,000 of my $8,000.
That you got
to pay
paid
the-
back.
Yes, but they didn't have the money, so
That's
when
not
they,
true.
you
That's
just...
not
Mr. Shaw,
what the
Mr.
uncle
Shaw,
told me.
I don't expect you to talk to each other. I don't expect you to talk
Yes,
to him.
ma'am, I understand.
Very easy. I believe that you changed the contract with your son from a contract where he would pay for the repairs, which was supposed to be $4,000, and then you have the use of the truck, to the fact that he was going to spend $10,000, which was all of his money. Put your hand down. I'm not... This 22-year-old truck that you've had since it was new was going to be his. And I am going to craft an order to the Department of Motor Vehicles to reissue a title in the truck to him. Do you understand? He's going to take that order. He's going to get a new registration for the car and a new ownership. Unless you want... Put your hand down. This is
Yana,
not
don't
a...
understand
This is
that,
not...
Yana.
It's not...
Don't understand that.
Well,
I got
wait,
other
just a
children.
second.
I got 5 other
Do
kids.
you want me?
man.
Do you want me to
And
say
it's
it's
spoiled,
slower?
Yana.
And I say, what about the $3,500 that we put into it?
You're absolutely right.
Okay.
But it wasn't $4,500. It was $3,500.
35. I'm sorry if you didn't hear me well.
Man.
You are absolutely entitled to that. I believe you are entitled to that. He put in 10. That's his truck.
I worked all my life with that truck.
I don't care.
I worked all my...
I don't care. He's not going to spend his $10,000 to fix your truck. That's ridiculous.
I want you to stop it.
Say, man. Hey, man, how can you tell me to stop on something I worked blood, sweat, and tears on? You finna take it.
That's the judgment. I'm not entertaining your counterclaim. That's the judgment of the court. You get title to the truck. You can retrieve it as soon as you change the registration of the truck. However, in order to do that, you have to give your parents the $3,500 that they put into the truck. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
What about
We're
this
done.
dog?
We're done.
This
court is
adjourned.
We're done.
We paying for this dog.
We're done.
It's over, okay.
We paying for this dog, and he's not giving us nothing.
Let me explain something to you. Let me explain something to you. The reason that I'm not hearing your counterclaim is because the two of you were disrespectful and didn't listen to me. Oh, yes, you did. That's it. We're done.
Correct. My actions of my response to what she was saying wasn't nothing being disrespectful towards her.
I'm very glad she ruled in my favor.
It was the initial, the thought of giving up my hard-earned possessions.
It was because I did try to work it out before we came to court, and they was like, no, we're not going to pay you nothing.
I never would have thought in a million years to my parents, and even though my parents were my butt, but that was just something you had to go through back then.
It saddens me. I'm in disbelief that my parents did that to me. I didn't think that they would do that.
I'm not sure. I don't know his plans. I can't talk to him.
If you do business with family, make sure you get contracts.
You know, I sympathize with the plaintiff's position on this because modifications of contracts are supposed to be allowed when there's a change in circumstance. So it's not like he was attempting to change the contract every Friday or for no reason. He thought that it was going to be $4,000. It turned out to be $10,000 to fix the truck. And as such, he wanted a bargain for exchange. That's a lot more money than he initially intended. So that conversation makes sense to me, that conversation between his parents, that I know we had agreed to this, but now with this new information, this is what I'm comfortable with. Is that okay?
I think so. I think that is a common sense interpretation of what happened.
For a truck that cost $60,000 20 years ago, to put in $10,000 to it is not nothing. That's a big investment.
Well, it probably isn't worth more than that. And the condition that it was in before he had it repaired, their position was unreasonable because now they have a fixed truck
that their child paid
for. And with the animus between them, it doesn't seem to me as if he's going to get any benefit from the bargain. So the modification of their original oral contract, which I think happened.
You're welcome.
Mr. Robertson, how long had you been living in your apartment prior to renting a room to the plaintiff?
I believe it was about 3 years.
You had been living there by yourself?
No, I had roommates previously.
When did the plaintiff move in?
I believe that it was January 1st of 2017.
2017?
It may have been 2018. It was the first, I forget.
It was 2018.
That's correct.
How long did he live there with you?
He lived there with me until September of 2021.
So far, that correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
So now let me understand this lawsuit. Mr. Robertson lived in his apartment for 3 years. You answered an ad for a room. You lived with him in his home as a tenant from January 2018 until September 2021.
Correct.
At that time, there was a dispute. We'll get into that in a moment. There was a dispute. During part of that time, Mr. Michelonis, you did not pay rent. Is that correct? During COVID?
That's correct.
For what period of time did you not pay rent? Give me how many months did not pay rent?
There was...
You don't have to think out loud. How many months between January of 2018 and September 2021 did you not pay rent? Give me a number. That's a number.
4 months. Some months I had paid partial rent. But there were 4 months that I did not pay any rent.
4 months, no rent. And how many months did you pay partial rent?
I believe that would have been 4 or 3.
So for 7 months you did not pay your rent. Paying partial rent is not rent. Now, my question to you, Mr. Robertson, is this is an apartment that you rent?
Yes.
Or rented? From January 2018 until September 2021, was your rent current?
My portion of the rent was current.
What do you mean your portion?
My portion that I was responsible for.
No, it's your apartment. You're responsible for the whole thing, Mr. Robertson.
Yes.
Okay? You're responsible for the whole rent. And if what you chose to do was to say to your landlord, listen, I have a roommate, I'm just paying my portion of the rent, my roommate isn't paying his,
right,
then your rent wasn't paid.
Yes.
And I assume that your rent wasn't paid for the same period of time that he didn't pay you his portion of the rent.
Yes.
Was it for any period of time greater than that? greater than the 4 months or the 7 months that he didn't pay rent?
I went through my bank statements, and they went back until, I believe, July of 2020, and that's as far back as my bank app lets me go.
Okay.
There were more months than that I received partial or no rent payments for.
From him?
From him.
I'm asking you about your landlord. If you didn't pay your landlord, you're telling me your landlord didn't file an eviction against you?
There were several months that he did pay his full rent, and so that would have meant that the entire rent for that period.
Well, I know, but if the rent was not paid, did your landlord ever serve you an eviction notice?
No, there was an eviction moratorium in Alameda County at that point for unpaid rents due to COVID.
Gotcha. So that would it be a fair statement that you both took advantage of that? He took advantage of it, and so did you.
I wouldn't say that it was me trying to take advantage. I would just say it was my inability to cover the entire rent.
Your portion as well as his.
My portion was always covered.
Your portion was covered?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Michelonis, when did you move from month and year?
It was September of 2021.
And when did you leave there?
I believe it was the 3rd or 4th week of August of 2021.
So you both left the place at about the same time?
I left involuntarily, but yes.
Well, you left involuntarily, because that's what this case is about. Okay, so now I have the structure of it. Do you understand the structure of it?
I understand.
You understand the structure of it? I just want to make sure that people out there watching understand the structure of it. So you were the rentor, and you had an argument. It resulted in a protective order for somehow, some genius put him out of his own apartment because of these protective. You weren't in the hospital for anything, were you, as a result of an assault? No. You have no medical records there of being treated for any injury.
It was a harassment.
Just a minute. Do you know my husband harasses me every day? Every day. I couldn't think of evicting him. I mean, you do other things. So the answer is, you were never treated for any illness. You were never treated for anxiety at a hospital as a result of this harassment. As a result of your allegations, let us say of harassment, Mr. Robertson was ejected from his own home, from which you had not been paying rent, your portion that you were supposed to pay contractually with him for months because of COVID. Am I getting this story right? So far? I'm not finished yet, but so far, is there anything that I said was wrong?
I think that's pretty close. I mean,
okay, so that's pretty close. And now, what you are seeking here is, should I say basically, and I hate that word, basically, but it's appropriate in this case, so all of those haters out there, she is basically, I don't care. It's appropriate here.
And I put in the protective order that they were living with me, but they were moving.
No. They were living with you. You were living with them.
Well, yeah, we were living together.
Of the underlying lease, you found that you were paying the vast majority of the rent.
Correct.
And so you want a return of that money.
That's correct.
Under what theory in the law?
Well, basically that he defrauded.
No, now you can't use it basically.
Okay.
I want to know what theory is there in the law that says if I own a building and I lease to someone the whole building for $10,000, and then I find somebody who is prepared to pay me, and I have the first 2 floors of the building. 3rd floor is vacant. I find somebody who's willing to pay me $9,000 a month just for the top floor. That makes me a good business person. But unless there is something that prohibits him from doing that...
There is, Your Honor.
Show me.
There's a clause in the lease.
No, just show me.
Okay.
I'm a lawyer. I can read a
lease. So the sublease that I agreed to with him incorporates the entirety of this master
Just a second.
lease.
I'd just like to see it, please, sir. I'd just like to see it. I assume you've highlighted what you want me to read.
Correct.
Okay. So what you're pointing to is that the landlord, his landlord, was not advised that you were subletting.
No.
Well, that's why, signed by every tenant.
So that was one of the things, because if you look at the second lease, the one that was altered by Christopher to remove those areas so I wouldn't be able to enforce them, was because he moved his boyfriend in without getting my consent. And so it says in there that he needs written consent. I understand that doesn't apply to me, but he thought it did. And so he used whiteout on the other lease that I gave to you to obfuscate those terms.
I don't know how to put this to you, sir, other than to say, let me backtrack. What kind of work do you do?
I'm a web developer.
You work for yourself or for a company?
I do. I'm an independent contractor.
How long have you been doing that?
2 years.
Prior to that, what were you doing?
I was a system administrator.
For whom?
For a small company in San Francisco.
How long did you work for them?
6 years.
So for 2 years, you were an independent web developer, and you're still an independent web developer.
Correct.
And that's how you support yourself.
Right.
So you work out of your home.
Right.
And you've been working out of your home, you say, the last 2 years since 2020. This is 2022 or 19.
Right.
What do you mean, right?
So it would have been.
When you moved in 2018, were you an independent contractor?
No, I was going to school.
You were going to school?
Right.
For what?
I went to.
Just a second, for what?
For web technologies. It was a program for web development technology.
Did you go in person?
Yes, it was an intensive.
How long?
It was 3 months. It was 8 hours a day.
Okay, so you went to school for 3 months. Right. During what period of time?
January 2018 to end of March 2018.
Okay, and at that time you were living with the plaintiff?
Correct.
Okay, so you needed a room for that 3-month period, and after that time, you supported yourself by being your own boss, by developing websites.
It took me a while to find a job, but yes.
What do you mean it took you time to find a job?
The interview process to get work. I was interviewing. It was very hard to break into that industry.
And so what did you do?
So I started taking on independent work.
So you never actually got a job outside of the independent work that you did?
That's correct.
So you support yourself by doing web development out of your home?
Yes.
So you used the home that you were living in, that room that you were renting, for not only your personal business, but you operated a place of business out of your residence.
Okay.
What do you mean, okay?
Yes.
Yes. I just want you to see how ridiculous you are. You want $10,000 because you overpaid what you consider your fair share of the rent. That's not going to happen. You come here, you didn't pay rent for at least 7 months because of COVID. You were working according to you. You were a web developer, still are, it's 2022, because you have no other job other than being a web developer. You stopped paying rent. You moved out after he did, correct?
Well,
did you pay?
I'd like to correct
in the month that you lived there, when you had put him out of his house, because they
were moving out. I did not put him out of the house.
I thought that was a protective order.
It was, but they were, and I put in the protective order that they were living with me, but they were moving, and so.
No. They were living with you. You were living with them.
Well, yeah, we were living together.
No, you were living with the defendant. He wasn't living with you. You were renting a place, although you weren't paying rent from him, and the underlying landlord wasn't getting his money, all of his money, because he wasn't getting your money. And what's coming to me is that somebody got stiffed with rent, and that would be the landlord who rented you your place where you were living, because you didn't pay him the whole thing. You didn't pay him the whole thing. And now you want me, you're asking me, to award you $10,000 for overpayment of rent.
Your Honor, can I clarify something? The times when I didn't pay rent, I was not working. It was during COVID, so the first couple months of the COVID lockdown, I lost all of my contracts, so I didn't have any money. And so I was using there was a COVID process where you could, basically say that.
There's no basically in there, only I used it once.
I did not have the money to pay rent. I was not just making money and not paying rent. I would not do that. I was broke. All of my contracts dried up because nobody had any money. I was working for small.
So what are you suing him for now? The government was very good to you. This is a very interesting America. It's a rent forgiveness, the rent moratorium. That doesn't mean the state where you live. What state do you live in?
California.
California. That doesn't mean the owner of this premises was given some sort of a break that they didn't have to pay for utilities, taxes, mortgage on the building, because it's used as a business. As far as I know, there wasn't a moratorium on that, but there was a moratorium on two seemingly able-bodied people to say to the landlord, I can't pay my rent. To add insult to injury, you think that I'm going to give you $10,000 because he charged you more than whatever the 1/3 or 40% of your occupancy of the apartment, and he shouldn't have? That's not going to happen, sir. So forget it. I've been here a long time. If a landlord is owed $5,000, because it is ridiculous. So now let's go to the security deposit part of your complaint. Did he give you a security deposit?
He did, Your Honor.
Now, he didn't pay rent because of this moratorium
Yes.
on rent. Did you get your security deposit back from the landlord?
I did.
How much?
I believe I got the total amount for the entire apartment, which was approximately $2,000.
And how much did Mr. Michelonis give you as a security deposit?
He gave me $1,250 for the security deposit plus a $300 pet deposit.
Sometimes the pet deposit is refundable. Did you get the pet deposit back?
I don't recall specifically if I got that back from the landlord.
But you did get back your entire security deposit, which included his $1,250.
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
Let's hold that in abeyance for a moment because now I'm going to go to your counterclaim.
Sure.
I think that's all I have to deal with. Oh, and property taken without permission. Did you get that property back? There was some...
I did not.
What property was it?
There was a stone Buddha carving. There was some dishes, some glasses.
Oh, give me a break. Do you have a stone Buddha carving?
I have the stone Buddha carving. I have a small statuette, a rooster that is his, and a small metal...
Great. Would you
inside.
pack those up?
Yes.
Do you live close to each other?
I haven't been able to because of our mutual restraining orders.
Fine. Do you know where your local precinct is?
Yes.
Where is it located?
I believe that the closest one would be downtown for me, downtown Oakland.
Okay. You'll find out before you leave today in 5 days. Drop it off at the local precinct.
Absolutely.
Let him know when, and he can go pick up his Buddha.
Yes, I don't want that in my home.
Terrific. Now, money owed for COVID debt is your counterclaim.
Yes.
Which is what?
It is a total of $55.35, I believe.
For what?
That is the unpaid rent.
But you didn't pay his rent, you just told me.
Right, and so this is the outstanding balance of the rent that he never paid that I'm responsible for as the master tenant.
Oh, no, you just told me that you got your security deposit back. If you got your security deposit back, sir, that means that the landlord is finished with you.
According to the law...
Not according to the law. If you got your security deposit back, the entire security deposit, the landlord has written it off because otherwise he would have taken your security deposit if you owed him or her money. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's very simple.
I understand
it's
what you're
very
saying.
simple.
I wish I could explain that to them in your
well
in your manner.
I want to tell you something. I've been here a long time. If a landlord is owed $5,000,
yes,
he doesn't say, well, tenant owes me $5,000, but his apartment was clean. I'm going to give him back his $2,000 security deposit. That doesn't happen.
So
only in the land of Oz does that happen.
They might live there.
No, they might live there, but I don't live there. Okay. You owe him $1,250 for security deposit. This case is over. Your counterclaim's dismissed. We're done. Thank you very much.
I would just like to bring
Bye.
Well, I was a little upset.
He's being a drama queen.
The clause in the lease was to prevent people from basically taking advantage of the fact that they've been living in a place for a long time and gouging rent for new tenants.
He said I was price gouging him because it was enough to pay more rent than he might have if he had done some more research.
They were trying to make it equal, and every place that I've lived in, there was always an equitable share of the rent. Like no one was ever gouging anybody. So I felt that I was unjustly charged.
Well, I can't say it wasn't very satisfying to hear the judge call his claims ridiculous to his face.
Basically, he was leaving the front door open, making it so my dog could escape easily. He was filling the house up with smoke.
We both burned sage.
He was basically trying to get me riled up. He wanted me to move.
While I am disappointed that I won't be able to recover some of his COVID debt.
Basically, the moment that he was, it was inconvenient for me to be there, he tried to make my life miserable.
I'm glad that I will never have to see him again, and this is that.
I'm not living with roommates ever again. I've got my dog, and we're cool.
He was a nightmare, and I never have to see him again.
Far be it from me to second guess another judge, but it would seem to me sort of outrageous unless there was some sort of a physical altercation. Why anyone, because he clearly was excluded from his house, he left first, and he said, involuntarily, would anybody exclude
the original tenant?
The original
when I read the papers, I thought the same thing. I thought that was outrageous that they would throw out the primary leaseholder on a lease in favor of his subtenant, which may or may not have been legal to begin with.
I can understand it if there was something more serious. But harassment, I just don't understand it. But mine is not to wonder why. Mine is but to do what I do. And I don't think that when you come into a court where you have at least participated marginally in a giveaway, to then come in and say, you know what, this technical thing, he wasn't supposed to charge me this much rent because I...
Case 2143, Simpsons versus McGowan Jr.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Simpson, you lived with Mr. McGowan for, looks like 7 years is what you said.
Yes, ma'am. It was off and on.
What do you mean off and on?
Well, I had another residence as well.
Okay.
And
it's going to get more complicated, I see, than less complicated. You lived off and on, according to you, with the defendant's brother, who is now deceased. It is your claim at one point in your papers that you and the defendant's brother were married.
Yes, ma'am.
He passed away.
Yes, ma'am.
And it is your claim that the defendant owes you money. He was the executor of the estate, and he owes you money for property that he took from the house and for filing a false police report against you, I assume indicating that you took things from the house.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. McGowan says that you and his brother were never married, while he indicates in his papers there might have been some sort of ceremony of marriage.
Yes.
That his brother somehow must have told him that he never filed the marriage license, so the marriage was never valid.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Well, let's go to that for a moment. Yes, it's sort of curious and takes me back to law school days. And believe me, that really tests my memory. Were you at the ceremony where your brother married the plaintiff?
No, ma'am, I was not.
When did your brother tell you that there was a marriage ceremony?
I probably heard it just throughout life.
You mean throughout life for how long?
From the time that he had any dealings with her.
So about 7 years ago?
Yes, ma'am.
So you asked your brother whether he was married?
Yes.
How long ago was this?
I would say 4 years ago.
Okay, so 4 years ago, you say to your brother, I understand that you, what's your first name?
Mona.
Mona got married.
Well, so he gave me an insurance document, and I was like, wow, what's going on? What about all this?
He gave you an insurance document that said what?
From the VA indicating that I was going to be the person that gets the money upon if he demise.
If he died,
right? And
you had a VA insurance policy.
Yes, ma'am.
With you as the beneficiary.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so he showed you the insurance policy.
Well, he sent it to me in the mail.
Okay, and
email or electronic. And so I said, wow, what's going on? So then I started to ask different questions, and he said, well, don't worry about that. We're not legally married.
No, you have to tell me. I said to him.
I said to him, so doesn't your wife?
Isn't she the beneficiary?
I don't want to be involved in all this.
Right.
And he said, I am not married. We went through a ceremony, and you have 10 days to file the
marriage license.
The marriage license in Las Vegas.
Okay.
To solidify the marriage. And then he said, I never filed it. We are not married.
Just a second. Did your brother tell you that he had ever told Miss Simpson that he never filed the marriage license?
No, we never had that conversation.
Okay, well, because you say in your answer, sir, that my brother was too smart for that, he never mailed in the license.
Well, he told me because there was a problem between these two. And so we talked about that, and he said, no, I'm not married to her. And he said, you have to file the document, and I never filed the document, and I have a copy of that right here.
Miss Simpson,
yes, ma'am.
Tell me when this ceremony took place in Las Vegas.
April 2013.
Did you travel there with Mr. McGowan?
Yes, ma'am. We moved to Vegas together.
Who was at the ceremony?
It was no ceremony. What happened was I don't know what this is. What happened was we went to the Justice of the Peace, and the 10 days is not acronym.
No, don't.
I apologize.
Don't tell me.
We had 1 year to go to like a pastor or minister or something like that because we just went to the Justice of the Peace in Vegas. They give you a year to do it, whereas it's, I guess, what I think the term is officiant or something. Officiant has to do it so you can become married permanently.
So you knew that you were not legally married?
Well, it was legal, but it would be official if you don't do another step within a year.
I understand that, but you never did the other step.
We didn't, only because he was sick, ma'am.
I don't care what the reason was. I don't care if he was watching Yellowstone or because it doesn't matter why.
I respect that.
What? You can get hooked on that.
Oh, yeah.
I understand.
So I don't care what the reason is. You knew that your marriage, because it wasn't confirmed, according to you, within a year that you weren't legally married.
Yes, ma'am. And
okay, just a second. That's all I want to know. That makes my life much easier. Because, Mr. McGowan, I want you to listen to me very carefully. Under what you told me, under the events that you told me, so you should have kept your mouth shut.
No, it's okay.
No.
It's going to be okay in the end. It's going to make a lot of sense in the end.
No, I understand that it's going to make a lot of sense to me. We're going to follow the money. But I just want to tell you and the people who are watching this that when I thought about your answer, that you said your brother was too smart and didn't file the necessary document within 10 days, my view of that scenario was that she could still consider herself his wife. Because if he fraudulently, in an attempt to deceive her, didn't mail the marriage license in, she would be the beneficiary. I'm just letting you know that. You understand what I just said?
Yes, ma'am.
Because he committed a fraud on her. He would have committed a fraud, your brother, on her into leading her to believe that they were a married couple and they had the responsibilities and the benefits of a married couple. But she says she volunteered that she knew they weren't married.
Yeah.
So I don't even have to address that.
And it's okay.
Just a second. I know where I'm coming from.
Okay.
So Mr. McGowan, the person that you were involved in for a period of years, on and off, you had your own place, but he was ill for a certain period of time. Was your brother ill?
No, ma'am.
No. Just a second. He says no. You say he was ill for a great portion of that time. Shh. Just a second. For a great portion of that time. And that you were his caregiver.
Yes, ma'am.
And you were paid as his caregiver by the government.
The VA, yes, ma'am.
By the VA to be his caregiver.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that would be inconsistent with being his wife, to be his caregiver. Because if you're a wife, you don't get benefits from the VA. If you are a non-relative and caring for somebody who requires assistance, you may get assistance. And how much was the VA? Just answer my question. This is not my first rodeo.
Okay, I understand.
How much was the VA paying you a month to take care of, what was your brother's first name?
Marcus.
How much were you being paid to take care of Marcus? Because you say that one check you didn't get because of him. It's part of your lawsuit, so you know exactly how much you were paid.
Ma'am.
How much?
$2,057.55.
A month.
Yes,
and when
ma'am.
did you start collecting that?
2014.
Woo! You are a legal stranger, so you must have filled out forms to say that you were married.
No, I was considered a family member. I was no longer considered the wife, but I was considered...
But you're not going to continue to solemnize the marriage ceremony that you went through in 2013 because you started to collect $2,000 a month from the VA in 2014 that you couldn't have collected were you his wife. That's a yes.
No, it isn't, ma'am. Receiving the benefits from the VA, you have to be a family member. You have to be related to that person in order to get this stipend pay. It wasn't a regular VA payment, and it's for relatives. You have to be a relative for that veteran.
What are you getting?
Yes, it's true.
Check that, Sarah.
Stipend pay for the VA. Because we're both disabled veterans. It's not like I just had to do this. I loved him, and I care for him, and he was sick the day I met him.
Just a minute, you both disabled veterans?
Well, my disability was not as crucial as his was.
How much do you collect?
I very minimum because
Which I asked you a question. That's a very minimum.
Yes.
It's not a number.
Yes, it's $300 and some change. But the thing is, Your Honor, may I speak, please? He was sick from the day that I met him, and I was taking care of him prior to that. This was his idea because he was familiar with the veterans and the system. This was his idea that we can receive funds, and it stayed right in the household. We were living together. It was stayed in the household, and that's okay with
I
them.
thought you told me a moment ago that you had your own place.
No, not then, ma'am. Not then when we moved back from Vegas, because we stayed in Vegas for approximately 3 years. We moved back from Vegas. He had purchase of home and everything, and it was supposed to be okay. We were going to be together. But he started living another alternate life, which he was very familiar with because he's introduced him to so many people. I don't even care about that. I still continue to take care of Marcus. It was no longer a romantic situation.
Now you still continue. You had your own place.
I lived both places. Because he needed me more there than he did when we was living together.
What kind of alternative lifestyle was he doing that he needed you there part-time?
He was seeing other people and
he was
stuff
seeing
like that.
women.
Pardon me?
He was seeing other women.
He was seeing other people, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so he was seeing other people. But you, let me finish.
Yes, ma'am.
But you continued to receive the $2,057. You knew you weren't married. That money was coming directly to you. It wasn't coming to him.
Well,
it was coming to you. At what address?
He was giving me a portion from his bank account, and then when we discontinued everything, there was nothing physical. Then I was receiving my full allotment at that point, but I was still taking care of him, taking him to the VA, taking him to the hospital.
Wait just a second. I don't care. Don't go like this and like this. He's a legal stranger to you, and you're getting $2,000 a month to take him to the VA.
Ma'am, he was not a legal stranger.
He was a legal stranger to you. Legal. He was not your mother, father, brother, sister, or husband.
Ma'am, he was a dear friend for me. He continued to be a friend, honestly.
Well,
and he knows that. We went to several places together.
I'm setting up for myself what is the actuality of the situation. Now, I understand that I was really not prepared for this scenario. I was prepared for somebody, quite frankly, Miss Simpson, who had been defrauded by his deceased brother into believing they were married. She took care of him when he was sick. And all of a sudden, now that he's deceased, his brother comes in, kicks her out of the house, and takes all of his property. That's the scenario. But now I understand that that is not the case, that you knew you weren't married, that for 8 years you collected $2,000 a month for taking him to the doctor's offices, to the vet, to taking care of him in the house. But you understood that he was seeing other people, that you didn't have an exclusive relationship. Now I understand it. And you did receive a certain benefit from that because when you moved back from Vegas, you went to your own place because he was having an alternative life that had nothing to do with you. At that point, was the money going to his bank account or yours?
It was going to his bank account, ma'am.
Okay. Well, you say that he notified the government. Part of your lawsuit is for 1 month's check that you say, or 2 months that you didn't get. And you say you didn't get it because he notified the VA or somebody notified the VA. I don't care who notified the VA, but I want to know is with those checks immediately preceding Mr. McGowan's death going into his bank account or yours that he had?
His. It was going into Marcus's bank account.
Okay, and he was giving you money from that bank account?
Prior to his death, yes, ma'am.
Right up to the time he got sick and died?
Yeah.
Okay,
yes,
and how much would he give you?
He would have given me $2,057. $2,000.
All right.
No,
okay,
you mean total?
No,
I'm sorry.
No, I get it. It was not what I thought, but I get it.
Ma'am, may I
okay,
please explain
money owed for the return of property. What property?
The property, which is my funds. I have jewelry that was missing and clothing that I never received because he kicked out his niece and boarded up the house.
Just a second. Was your brother taken to the hospital?
Yes, ma'am.
On what date?
28th of August, 2021.
Okay.
He was nowhere to be found.
Just what?
He wasn't around.
Just a second.
I did that.
Just a second. Did you take him to the hospital?
I had his daughter to call the ambulance. I got to Marcus' house and I followed him to the hospital. Yes, ma'am.
Hey, well, you want to just answer my question? I actually understand the whole scenario. You understand that I do understand the money part. I get it. So when you say his daughter called the ambulance and you got over there from your house?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and who do you live with there?
My daughter and my son.
And in whose name is the lease?
My daughters, my son, and myself.
So all three are on the lease?
Yes, ma'am.
And how long have you had a lease at that address?
2017.
Okay, so we're talking about 5 years that you've had an alternative address. You have an answer for me?
There is a Veterans Affairs program of comprehensive assistance for family caregivers. It says $2,800 a month, but based on a fee schedule that can change. So the $2,057 fits within the range.
Does it define family members?
It doesn't define the family caregiver, only that the VA may appoint someone who's part of the primary family caregivers to the veteran, but it doesn't identify who qualifies as a family caregiver.
As a family caregiver. And that's the act that you were under. But you were not a member of his family.
Yes, ma'am.
You were not a member of his family.
Well,
not a well. Not a well. This is not a well. You're living with your daughter, your son, on a lease since 2017. You know he's got an alternative lifestyle that has absolutely nothing to do with you. He was giving you the $2,000 a month. I don't know why. I don't even have to get into that. But you were not.
That individual,
but you were not a family member. If this is for family,
it does go to the veteran to then give the family caregiver, though.
Okay, but you are a legal stranger to him. So you must have filled out forms to say that you were married.
No, it's up to that. It's up to that individual, the veteran, and I know how the procedure goes. It's up to that individual. I was considered a family member. I was no longer considered the wife, but I was considered.
Well, you're not no longer. You were never his wife. So if he filled out a form and
I'm okay with that, ma'am, because I could have.
Okay, so he had the right. You were never his wife. He had the right to board up the house, whichever it is, and you weren't living there for 5 years. You had a place. So if you had clothes there and your jewelry, what were your clothes and your jewelry there? If he was fooling around with other women, why would you leave your clothes and your jewelry in the house?
Okay, ma'am. The thing is, no one has came to the home as another woman in that home. I was always there. He has no proof or evidence that I was not there. So basically, I had their clothes there because I stayed there. I lived there.
Forget it. You were more than compensated with $2,000. I don't believe she had any property there either, anything of value.
And I did.
Can I?
Excuse me.
I did find what the VA considers a caregiver. So if you're a spouse, son, daughter, parent, step-family member, or extended family member of a veteran, or if you live full-time with them, or if you're willing to live full-time with them if they designate you as the family caregiver.
So technically,
if you're willing to live with the veteran full-time, you could be qualified as a family caregiver, but it's up to the veteran to declare their own family
caregiver. If you live there full-time.
Yeah.
But she stated if you were willing to, and I was always willing to.
Okay,
because
good. I don't feel as if you were shortchanged, madam, at all. And I don't believe that you had anything of value in the house. So your case is dismissed. Now we're going to get to the second part of your claim. You say she took property from the house?
Yes, ma'am.
What property?
She took jewelry, guns.
What jewelry?
Chains, rings, cufflinks.
Show me.
Entire.
Show me. How am I going to figure that out? You have photographs of things?
Yes, I have some photographs here.
This is so sad.
It's so sad you have to put a period and end it. You had a good thing going for 9 years.
Ma'am, the money was paid in the arrears, first of all. So me not getting paid for, and this is really not a big issue to me, what he's saying, because they're all lies, and I'll tell you the truth.
Just say, I'm not saying anything, madam. All I'm saying is you have no case, because I don't believe that somebody who lived in a lifestyle, as you've described, as you've described to me, which is you have your own home, you're on a lease since 2017, where you said to me he had an alternative lifestyle, but I still took him to his VA appointments. I took him, and I was his caregiver, but I lived with my daughter and my son. I don't believe that you leave any valuable jewelry at his house.
I was there most of the time, honestly.
You don't need valuable jewelry if you're taking care of a sick person.
But when I go with state where it's also friends,
I've decided your case.
I respect that.
This is just what had happened to looking for everything that was taken in there.
I don't care. Who cares? What are you showing me? You're showing me that the place is a mess, that somebody went through it?
I'm showing you
I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care. Prior to his death, when had you seen your brother last?
I had seen him about 5 days prior to that.
You live close by?
I was living in San Diego at the time, and he lived in Highland, which is 79 miles up the 15 freeway.
Okay, so 5 days prior to the 5 days prior that you saw your brother, when had you seen him before?
We see each other quite frequently. We have family barbecues, this, that, and the other. I'm retired. I go.
Okay, would you return these to him? These don't show me any jewelry.
Okay.
Shows me that the house looked like it was picked through.
Okay. Thank you.
What else?
So, quite frequently.
That's it. Did you get a VA benefit from your brother for his insurance?
From the life insurance?
Yeah, that's from the VA.
Yes, ma'am.
And how much did you receive?
$2,600.
Who paid for his funeral?
I did.
How much was that?
$1,100 or $1,200.
So you took some of the insurance money and paid for it?
Yes.
Did he have any other valuable asset?
He had quite a bit of stuff. It's in probate as we speak.
Oh, so case is in probate
It's in probate right now as we speak.
Oh, great. So I don't have to deal with it. Your case is dismissed. We're done. Thank you.
Court is adjourned.
You know what? I have a lot of respect for the judge, but she didn't listen to me.
Well, I'm happy that the judge made the decision that she made.
He's a habitual liar.
Thief. My brother died, and within a half a day went over and burglarized the house.
This is something that he can laugh about, and he's going to go and tell the whole world that I'm still a liar. I'm still a this, that, and the other.
There is quite a bit of items that belong to me that this person stole.
That you can love someone and not be married to them. You can help someone and not be married to them and making love to them. I was genuinely there to help Marcus because I love Marcus.
The devil. I don't want the devil. The devil.
He barred me from the funeral. I didn't fight it because the respect I have for his family and for Marcus. I could have went there. No. I said, you know what? I won't be there.
I hope that she crawls back in the rat hole she came out of and does whatever she does.
You know what was interesting in that case, Sarah? When I read the complaint and the answer, I had a whole different vision.
Me too.
Of what the arrangement was. And based upon what the defendant wrote in his answer, that his brother, with regard to the marriage, to his brother telling him, I'm too smart, I didn't mail in the papers.
Read like fraud a little bit.
Right.
But she was in on it. She knew. She didn't complete the steps.
She didn't complete the step for a different reason, but she knew
that they weren't legally married.
That they weren't legally
married. Which
married.
changes the whole game from a legal perspective.
Right. Certainly the fact that the case is currently in probate made my life a lot easier. Anyway, it should be a warning signal when you get married out there, folks, and you have a marriage license, because I performed enough weddings to know you have to seal it, sign it, put a stamp on it, and usually put it in the mail within 3 days of the ceremony. So friendly, and you had some business transactions together. What kind of business?
I would refer real estate business to him and refer flipping homes and the construction work.
Did you take part in that as well?
I did.
In what year were you divorced?
2015.
So this briefly is what I gather from the complaint and the answer and the counterclaim. At some point, according to you, you purchased 3 ATVs. Those 3 ATVs were originally supposed to be used in business.
We purchased more than 3.
How many did you purchase?
Those were the 3 that were left. It was 14 of them that we had.
And when you purchased those together as part of a business?
No, those were mine. I purchased it. The business.
14.
Business was mine. Yes.
14?
Yes.
You purchased them, you paid for them?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and you can prove that to me?
I can.
Okay. Do you agree with the fact your former wife purchased the 14 ATVs?
Yes, I agree, but it was underneath an LLC that was formed.
I don't care whether it was under an LLC or a little umbrella or a big shoe. She bought the ATVs.
Yes.
So one of the things that's in question is the ATVs now are in your custody?
The remaining ones are in my home, yes.
3?
Yes, ma'am.
And you want them back?
I do.
She bought them. Why doesn't she get them back?
Because, Your Honor, there is an outstanding invoice for work that I have done for her.
What?
It's construction work and other odds and ends that was helping her.
That's not part of your counterclaim as a set-off, sir. That's not what you say at all.
Okay, and also there is a counterclaim.
You have a counterclaim. That has to do with your truck. So there really is no reason that you are holding those ATVs. Are they new?
No, they were demonstrator models. There's 1 new one and 2 demonstrators.
Okay, so within 5 days, you make arrangements to get those, okay? I assume that you have children together?
No.
So I assume that you are 2 civilized people. I don't know whether you need a police officer to accompany you to get those, but within 5 days, make arrangements to pick them up from his house. They're yours.
I will. Thank you.
Are we then finished with your claim?
Now, there's a lawnmower, an electric zero-turn lawnmower.
Okay.
It's also part of that claim.
Okay. I sort of remember that. Is that an old lawnmower?
No, it was purchased in May of 2021.
And who was it purchased for?
He asked me, since he could not get it on credit, if I would buy it for him, and the next real estate transaction that I referred him, he said when he got paid, he would pay me the $4,800 back.
Okay.
And so when I asked for it, he said he had put it in a separate savings account to save it for me. And I said, well, I don't need you to save me my
Got
money.
it. So you have the lawnmower?
Yes, ma'am.
You picked that up with the ATVs.
Thank you.
Got it?
Thank you.
Perfect. Now we have to come to your counterclaim. Your counterclaim is sort of interesting and can be, I think, probably equally swiftly disposed of. After your divorce, you needed a truck. You didn't have any money or credit, according to what I've read, and you purchased a truck in your name for him. And the agreement was that you would make the payments on the truck because you couldn't get credit. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
The truck was purchased in what month and year?
August of 2020.
How much did the truck cost?
$58,000, somewhere in there.
And how much of a down payment did you put down?
$500.
Is that right?
Yes.
That's good. You must have had good credit.
I did.
Good. And what were the monthly payments, sir?
900 and I can't remember exactly. It was under 1,000. It was 940 something dollars, I think.
And you paid for the truck the month of August of 2020 and all through 2021. Until when? When was your last payment on the truck that you made, that you can prove to me that you made?
I have all the payments.
Just tell me, when was the last payment you made on the truck?
It was August of this year.
August of 2022.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's what your bank rec is making payments on the truck. You say he stopped making payments on the truck, which is why you repossessed it. You didn't want your credit to be at risk.
It was 2 of the first payments that I made, and I said, I'm not doing this again like I did on the last truck where I make every payment. But the insurance, I asked for the insurance to be paid since April of 2020, and I requested this on June the 28th of 2022, and I said, here's the insurance premiums I've paid on the GMC truck since we've had it, and it was $1,596. His reply was, I'm happy to pay the insurance on my truck, but don't just dump 2.5 years on me at a time. I will need to break this up into 3 increments. This was June. I don't have any money. The insurance and taxes, the taxes this year was the first time he's ever paid taxes on the vehicle, and it was 1 year late. He drove on an expired tag for a total year. The reason
is that correct?
I'm sorry?
Did you drive on an expired tag for
No,
a
ma'am.
year?
It was only a few months late.
But so you drove...
It wasn't an entire year.
How many months?
2 months.
Well, that's too long.
I agree.
And was your agreement that you would maintain the insurance for the truck as well?
That was something that we discussed, and because of the real reason she actually agreed to purchase the truck, we had a previous truck that was also I was driving, And because of the LLC that the truck was under, it was a very high commercial insurance rate. So she felt that it would benefit her to get another truck and come out from under the commercial rate that she was paying for insurance. And she was going to put it in a group insurance policy.
Where is the truck? Where is the truck? You've had possession of the truck.
That's correct.
So you get all the benefit of the truck, and she gets all the detriment.
I'm just referring to
I'm just what I'm not getting from you, sir, is any sense of the whole idea was this is going to be my truck. As soon as I finish making all the payments on the truck is going to be mine, right? And if you didn't make payments on the truck, absolutely, she has a right to repossess it if that was your agreement, and you acknowledge that that's your agreement, right?
That is the agreement, but I have made every payment, and I have paid all the taxes.
Well, the word paid all the taxes eventually, didn't pay them when due.
That happened once.
Didn't pay them when due, pay them eventually. What about the insurance?
The insurance, I agreed to catch up and pay her back for once she told me what it was.
Okay.
I never received any information about the insurance amount until she sent it all in one.
Okay, she sent it to you in one email. That was in June, and you said I couldn't pay it, and she repossessed the car in September. Between June and September, did you make any insurance payment?
No, I did not.
Why?
It was a lot of things going on at that time that there was money owed to me as well from her. So it was a lot of discussion going back and forth about that.
Well, but one thing is clean. You know about the insurance, and if there's money that she owes you from construction or real estate or whatever it is, you have to put that in compartments. Where is the truck now?
I took the truck back and it is sold.
Did you ever tell him?
He wouldn't talk to me. He hasn't talked to me since May.
So you had the truck for approximately 2 years?
Yes, ma'am.
And how much in total did you pay for the truck?
The exact amount added up was $18,736.
So you paid approximately $9,000 a year, right?
Correct.
Your Honor, we had an agreement of $1,200 a month on the truck to cover the insurance and taxes up front before it was purchased.
That's not true.
Well, if you paid approximately $9,000, Mr. Smith, and you used it for business, correct? That's what you used the truck for. So you paid approximately $750 a month if you paid $9,000 each year for the 2 years, 1870. You say the payments were $900 a month. That means that there was a shortfall.
Can I bring us? It was more than 2 years. It was August of 2020 until
September.
August of this year.
Well, that's 2 years.
There's also a down payment
of $500. I'm not.
Okay.
So that's $750, sir. I always have a problem with people who are no longer married and no longer happy with each other, where one party has the obligation and has all the liability on a vehicle, including their credit and their insurance, when the other person is being either irresponsible or blinking at certain violations. Let's talk about the violations. Driving without tags, only 2 months. When we forget or we're traveling and we don't get registrations for our cars, we don't drive those cars. Because if you're driving with expired tags, that's against the law.
I would like to point out, if I may, that the bill for that obviously went to her address. It was not given to me. Now, that's not my... I understand that I need to be aware of it, but I never received that bill.
I gave it to him the very month it came in.
Just a second.
That's not true.
Just a second. You're a big boy. You know, when your car has to be registered, you have a little yellow tag on the back like everybody else. And insurance, you know, you're supposed to pay insurance. That was your agreement. You were supposed to. Great. She sold the truck. How much did you sell it for?
$48,000.
And how much was left on the loan?
$48,000. It was even.
Oh, show me.
It was even. Oh.
I'd like to see that. Ooh. So $48,000 was, he paid $18,000.
Hang on 1 second, I got it.
Can I submit this to you?
What is that?
This, my bank statement showing the payment.
No, you told me. I accepted it. Okay. She doesn't dispute it, and I accept it.
I do have a copy of the title here somewhere.
What I'm looking for, Mr. Smith, just so that you know what I'm having to look for me, she's going to show me how much was left on the loan and how much she sold the truck for. If she sold the truck for more than was left on the loan, the difference between, you're looking at me, the difference between that belongs to you.
Oh, I see.
Because you paid it, right?
I see. Yes, ma'am.
Got it? That fair? Did she tell you that she sold the truck?
No, ma'am.
He went and bought a truck 2 days later, so he was able to buy a truck.
Okay. Would you find those papers for me while you're looking for
I'm
those
sorry,
papers
I
for
can't-
me?
I
Mr.
can't.
Smith, did you buy another truck?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Did you put a down payment on it?
Yes, ma'am.
And you own it now?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're driving it now?
That's correct.
What would you do with a second truck?
Well, I was forced to buy one because I
Well,
had
I
no
understand
warning.
I understand you were forced to buy one, sir. But if you had the truck and you weren't going to use two trucks, you would sell this truck for whatever amount you sold it for. And if there was any overage, you get.
I offered to purchase the truck from her. In fact, she understood that I was planning to purchase the truck from her.
Don't tell me what she understood. Right now, you don't need a truck, and I'm going to find out whether or not she has to give you any money as a result of what she sold the truck
This
for.
bill of sale does not have the amount on it. I didn't realize that. I'll have to get that from.
Well,
from
this is
where
the
I
time
sold
to get it.
I'm sorry, I did not realize it didn't have it on there.
Okay. Oh, you sold it to a company?
I did.
Oh, okay. Not to a private party?
No.
Is that the same company that you purchased it from?
No, I purchased it from a different dealership.
Do you have the exact amount that the extant loan was?
The original loan was 60.
No.
I'm sorry. The exit loan?
Yeah, the exit.
It was between 48 and 49,000, give or take. Hang on.
And the truck
I have it.
was purchased for 56, so that amounts for his payments plus interest.
I have it. That's the difference of what they gave me. I originally put the down payment on that truck as well. He did not.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah, that was the difference they gave me in the sale.
Okay, so this is the difference
yes.
between what was on the loan.
Exactly.
Between what was on the loan.
Exactly.
And this. Okay, so the excess, sir, was $2,225. She put in the deposit for the truck when it was originally purchased of $500?
She did not.
Yes.
Who did?
I did, and I have a copy. I have that in this record right here.
Show me.
We added tires. We added all kinds of extra stuff and everything to it. I paid for that as well.
I don't care.
This is actually.
Just show me.
It's on my phone. Can I show it? Can I?
From 2020?
Yes, what had happened, the amount actually came off of this statement copy.
Let me see.
Can I submit this too, where I made the 2 payments on the truck? When he first started, I made the very second payment and the 4th payment on that truck because he wouldn't make it. I also notified him on June the 20th that he had 30 days to get the truck in his name, and I never heard anything.
You can't notify him within 30 days to get it in his name. That's not the agreement. Let me see.
Yeah. There's this.
Yep. Purchased authorized August 22nd, and this is 2020 for $500. Okay, so the difference of $500 that came out of your account brings the total excess that she received $1,725. She's coming to pick up her lawnmower within 5 days and her 3 ATVs. At the same time, she's going to give you $1,725, which is the difference between what was owed on the truck and the profit that was made that she didn't pay for. We're finished here. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
I think it was fair.
Well, it was a little less than I thought I was going to get back from it, and there's a lot more to the story that obviously I couldn't get in.
Well, I mean, I had the truth, so.
She understands why that is because there's an outstanding invoice from me for work that I've done that she's refusing to pay for.
I have supported him since 2003.
Construction work, I did a lot of planning and helping her with her current home that she's living in.
It was just one thing after another, and I could never owe him one dime.
I mean, everything was fine between us.
He has trauma bonded me and manipulated me and gaslit me for all these years and kept me around just in case other relationships didn't work out.
Until she found out I was seeing someone else.
No. I had been asking for everything of mine that he kept and held hostage for a long time before that, but he's probably had many more before that. I just didn't know about them.
But I'm happy.
I was thinking he was making me think that we were reconciling while he was using me.
I don't see us talking anymore.
The bank is finally closed, and the bad bargain has just been a nightmare. It's been hundreds of bad bargains.
No more business ventures.
You see, it's always a mistake, unless you're married, to co-sign a loan for anybody. A boyfriend, a somebody.
An ex-husband.
And especially an ex-husband.
Yeah. Because I think what you said was true. There's always one person that gets no benefit and gets slighted and has their name on the line for their credit for future purchases that they want to make, and the guy who gets to drive the truck.
And the guy gets to drive the truck. Of course, he says that the reason she got all hot and bothered is because he has a girlfriend now. I would have felt a little more sympathy towards him had he not gone out 2 weeks later and bought a new truck.
Case 2188, Saniger versus Hubener.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Saniker, is this your boyfriend?
Hi, yes. This is my boyfriend and the father of our 2-year-old child.
Okay, you could stand up with her. In addition to a 2-year-old child, you also had 2 dogs. Where were you living at the time of this incident?
So we were living in our house.
In your house where?
In Redford, Michigan.
Do you own the house or rent it?
We rent it.
Are you still living there?
Yes, we are.
Do you work?
No,
You're not. The answer is no.
I am a writer. I'm also 2 months pregnant, too, so...
The question is, do you work and make a living?
Yes.
At what?
Writing.
Okay. Who do you write for?
Myself, self-publishing.
Well, how much money did you make last year self-publishing?
0.
0. Yeah. So the answer is, you don't work and you don't make any money. And what about you, boyfriend?
I currently, at the moment, am a custodian for the Hills School District.
Okay, and how much do you earn?
I earn $16.50 an hour.
And what's your rent?
It's $14.45.
Who pays it? There's no question you don't.
He does.
I do.
Impossible. Not $16 an hour.
My brother currently lives with
What?
my brother lives with us as well, so we have a roommate. That's how we pay for it.
And he pays some of the rent?
Yes.
Is your rent current?
Yes.
And you have a car?
I do.
So you have a car and insurance. You have a car. Well, somehow you're very economical. Now, you had 2 dogs. You had financial hardship, according to your complaint, and you could no longer take care of the dogs. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
What kind of dogs were they?
Our 1-year-old dog named Courage. He is a Border Collie, an Australian Shepherd mix.
He's a Border Collie?
Yes.
Where did you get him from?
We got him from a breeder back in 2021. It was probably December 2nd of 2021.
And what was the other dog?
The other dog, her name was Danny. She was a purebred golden retriever puppy that we had purchased October 7th, 2022. Yeah.
Okay. Now, how much did you pay for the Border Collie?
We paid $500 for the Border Collie.
I'm still figuring out how you're all budgeting. And how much did you pay for the Golden Retriever?
We also paid $500 for the Golden Retriever.
Where did you get the money from?
A tax return.
So let me understand this. You have a 2-year-old baby?
Yes.
You have a 2-year-old baby. You got tax returns from the only income from the house, which is his, where he earned $16 an hour. And what you did was you spent $1,000 of your tax return on 2 dogs. I just am clarifying that in my own mind. Huh?
Yes.
That would be a right. Okie dokie. When you could no longer either physically and or financially take care of the dogs, you put an ad on the internet. What part of the internet?
We put the ad on Craigslist and Hoobly.
Craigslist and?
Hoobly.
It's like another Craigslist type online.
You have a copy of the ad?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it. Okay, so you put ads for both dogs. One, you said small rehoming fee, not a breeder, needs a new home, call for details. The other is the 1-year-old Border Collie, Aussie mix, and you had rehoming fee of $200.
Yes.
Okay, this says absolutely nothing about fostering short term, you get the dogs back, nothing. And no other criteria in here.
Yes.
Nothing. So this is your complaint. The defendant answered your ads. You brought the 2 dogs over to her. She gave you $100.
Yes.
Yes. You left the 2 dogs with her. You were on your way back to wherever you lived. You were in the car, and according to you, you had a change of heart.
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
And you called her and you said to her, "We're coming back."
Yes.
How long did that process take you?
It was within the 2 hours we had left.
So within 2 hours, you called her and said, "I changed my mind."
Yes.
And what did she say to you?
She had said that she had given the dog away.
One of them?
One of them, yeah.
Okay. She said, "I gave the dog away." Did she tell you to whom? Did she tell you what circumstances? Did she tell you?
She said that she had given the dog to a lady named Cindy, and she mentioned that she gave this Danny to...
You have text messages, is what you're reading from text messages?
Yeah.
I'd like to see it.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a text in the evening, and she says to you, my friend is traveling back to Tennessee now with my friend Cindy. Now, you went back to the house and you picked up one of the dogs.
Yes.
Courage. And did you give her back the $100?
No.
That's either yes or no.
No.
Why not?
We want our dog back.
You made a deal. She paid you $100. She gave you one back, despite the fact that you didn't give her any money. Why do you think that this is a deal that you can say, I changed my mind?
They gave away a golden retriever after promising to keep the puppy.
Now, you went back to the house and you picked up one of the dogs.
Yes.
Courage. And did you give her back the $100?
No.
That's either yes or no.
No.
Why not?
Because she kept the other dog, Danny, which was a purebred golden retriever. The condition was to have both dogs together.
Okay, show me where that is. Show me something in writing where that was a condition. It certainly wasn't in your ad. It certainly wasn't in your ad, which just said you needed to find new homes for both your dogs.
It was.
Did you ever say anything to the defendant about getting a better offer for the golden retriever?
No.
Yes.
Did you ever say anything to the defendant, either on the phone or in a text, that you believed that you could get more for the golden retriever because you had paid $500 for it as a puppy? This was just a couple of months later. It was still a puppy. I'm asking you, did you say anything to her about being able to get more money for her?
No, I did not. We want our dog back because of our other dog, Courage. And
what makes you think you can have your dog back? You made a deal. She paid you $100. You took the $100. You didn't return the $100 to her. One of the dogs was already rehomed to yet another person. She gave you the dog back. She gave you one back, despite the fact that you didn't give her any money. Why do you think that this is a deal that you can say, I changed my mind? What makes you?
Because there wasn't a verbal condition to keep the dogs together.
Absolutely not.
Shh.
Sorry.
It was a verbal condition to keep the dogs together. They were a bonded pair, and she said that if we wanted to, we could.
In what month did you sell the dogs to the defendant?
It was December 4th, 2022.
12/4. Now, you got, according to you, the golden retriever in October of 2022. So you had, at most, the dogs together for 2 months.
Yes.
Yes. Well, that's not a bonding experience. How old was the golden retriever?
She was 2 months old when we got her.
So she was 4 months old?
Yes.
Well, you certainly could have gotten more than $100 for her. She must have been really desperate for that $100.
I really just want my dogs together.
Well, they're not together. Then you should have thought of that before you put ads here. You changed your mind. That's it. You changed for whatever reason. You felt sad in the car going home. Or she's going to tell me that you had a conversation with her that involved money.
No.
I'm ready. All I want to know from you at this point is, and it's really not dispositive of this case, but it was in your answer. Did you ever have a conversation after she dropped the dogs off about money?
Yes.
Tell me about the conversation. When was it? Was it in the car? Or
it was by my door, by my side door.
When? At what point in this? When they came back? Or
when they came back, she said, I got offered a lot more money for this dog. I think you're a scam artist, and I want what's due. I want the rest of my money.
What, the rest of your money?
No. I don't know.
No, Your Honor, no.
Never said that.
Yes. She got offered more money,
She
Your Honor.
certainly could have gotten more.
She
for this
certainly
golden
could
retriever.
have.
She certainly could have gotten more money
Yes.
for the golden retriever than the $100 that you gave her for both dogs.
Yes, for both.
But she accepted the $100 and she never returned the $100. That's it. Finished. What?
Your Honor, I wanted to keep Courage, and my friend here, Cindy, took Danny.
Oh, so you have the other dog?
I do, yes.
I have the other dog. Well, step up. So you were going to Tennessee?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, tell me about the conversation that you had with this Hovner.
Yes.
On the date that they dropped the dog off.
Okay, she had called me and let me know that Rihanna, I believe is her name, was going to drop the dogs off.
When did you have this discussion?
That was on the 4th, on December 4th, 2022. She called me, I would be guessing, I don't know, I'm going to say maybe 5 in the afternoon, and told me that, I think her name's Brianna, was going to be dropping the dogs off
for $100.
For $100, and she asked me
do you have, $100? And I said, well, sure. So
you gave her $100?
I gave her $100 to give, yes. Brianna. And I was waiting, and she was running just a little late. We was going to Tennessee. We had to get diapers and stuff. So I left the $100 with Charity, and I said, just in case she comes while I'm gone, you have the money to give her, and I'll come back when, we're done shopping to get the dog.
Okay. Now, when had you discussed with her the $100 for both dogs?
Over the phone, Your Honor.
Tell me about the conversation.
The conversation went, we had discussed the 100 for both Courage and
Do you have that in texts?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
Not all of them, just
not all of it.
Just the one that she's asking about.
Yeah. How is the dog?
She's doing really good. Yeah, I got her to the vet. She's growing. Oh, she 2 weeks ago was her last shots, and she's already 41 pounds. She's just growing like a weed. Yes.
Okay, I'm going to read this to you. I am trying hard to come up with $100 more, dear. I have 100. And you respond to her, okay, we're just going to have to feed them bread until somebody buys them. Then she answers you, I will come up with the rest. You were just feeding these puppies bread? What's changed in your life financially that you think that you should be able to stretch your budget to feed so far a 40-pound dog and the other one? You respond to her, okay, we're just going to have to feed them bread until somebody buys them. You were just feeding these puppies bread? That's what you wrote here. Who wrote this, you or him?
I wrote it.
And I would assume that your life circumstance hasn't changed. You're still not working, and he's still working for $16 an hour.
Sure, yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And at that point, back in December, what you said was, I can only afford to feed them bread until somebody buys them. What's changed in your life? What's changed in your life financially that you think that you should be able to stretch your budget to feed so far a 40-pound dog and the other one? What's changed? Nothing. Ridiculous people.
Kenyon was jobless at the time, Your Honor.
What?
Yes.
He was jobless in December.
Yes.
You still took your tax returns and bought a dog for $500. Duh. She says to you, they are both really fantastic dogs. And you respond, absolutely they are. It was a nice chapter to have them. Now their fate is with you or wherever their life journey takes them. Glad you have them now. That's what you wrote.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, you're right. I'm probably going to fall madly in love. Anyway, then you changed your mind. And they reached out to Paw's organization and had a chat about last night. Your suspected buyer is being rude to us, and we want our dog back. What's a Paw's organization? What is that?
When we had met her at her house, I was a little uneasy about giving her the dog and taking into consideration the area we live in Metro Detroit. There's a lot of dog fighting there, so I had to be sure that she was trustworthy. So she had mentioned to me that she is a part of the Paws organization, which is a animal-friendly organization
Okay. Oh, yeah. You say, now you want the dog back, and you say, option A, you pay us our asking price for the dog. What was your asking price? This is after you already got the $100. Okay, so now, after you got the $100, left the dogs with her, what was your asking price? What was your asking price?
The value of her.
What was the asking price? It's your words.
I'm a little confused, I'm sorry.
Option A, you pay us our asking price for Danny. Or option B, we call our lawyers and take you to court.
Yes, I at the time wanted her to pay the remaining balance of Danny, how much we had bought her for, $500.
So you wanted more money for the dog?
Yes.
Okay, well, you can't have it. You've already made your bargain. Your case is dismissed. We're done here. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
I think that there's a lot of evidence, a lot of things that was left out and unsaid.
I thought the judge's decision was fantastic.
I just feel like everything wasn't said properly. That's probably on our part. I don't think it was necessarily fair, but that's her decision.
Cynthia and I wanted the best interest in these dogs.
It just didn't feel right, so immediately we went back to get the dogs and keep them and bring them home.
It was about money.
Just stick it out next time. Don't trust everybody.
I just feel as if these dogs were not taken care of.
I hope she does have a good home.
You know the sadness of that whole case to me, Sarah, is the mindlessness of these two young people. I don't know where they got the $500 during that 2-year period, an extra $500 to pay for each dog. I can only speculate. When I speculate, I say to myself, based upon my common sense, neither one of them look like they're robbing a store.
No.
So I have to say to myself, you know who bought them those dogs? The president. Because the only time you get that kind of chunk of money was it your stimulus or extended something. But even if it's extended unemployment, because he was unemployed, you have $1,500 a month in rent, you have a car, you have insurance, you have a 2-year-old baby. What kind of thought process goes into buying 2 expensive dogs?
And
What,
big
a dog?
dogs.
A big dog. Well, one of them was a big dog, one of them was a substantial sized dog. Then you have a 2-year-old baby and you're going to feed the dogs bread. So what do? You have another baby. That makes sense. Makes perfect sense. And I guess I get so excited about it because based upon my history, it's always the children that end up suffering.
I knew you were going there. And it's true. Yeah. You're feeding a dog bread and think that that's an appropriate way to take care of an animal and trying to get it off your plate. The first thing I would be doing is making sure I didn't sign up for another child financially, responsibility-wise.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do? Cut the baby's formula with water so that you can stretch it? I mean, they both look like they could use a good meal. I don't understand. I just don't understand the thought process, and it's always the innocents that suffer because even the dogs are innocents, and clearly the babies, but clearly the dogs are innocents. You know, they just want to be fed and have a home with, you're not a 4-month-old puppy eating bread until they can find somebody that can give them something more nourishing. It's absolutely outrageous and irresponsible and tragic. That's what I think. Life isn't getting any different from what it was 40 years ago. It just stays the same.
Well, at least the golden retriever is in a good home, goes to the vet. Hopefully it's getting fed real dog food, so there's a bright side or a silver lining in the end of that. So.
Right. Now, if you could just find reasonable parents to take care of these 2 children. If I got bitten by somebody's vicious dog, that's a traumatic event.
We had an agreement that she signed.
It says this agreement settles a dog bite. Why did you sign this?
I was very high on narcotics coming out of the hospital. I do not remember signing this.
This is Judy Justice. Previously on Judy Justice.
She wasn't trespassing in your house, madam. She wasn't burglarizing your house. She was bitten by your pit bull. That's what the case is about.
She was told not to go into my house.
If I believe you. Now I'm going to look at your video.
She even said it was her fault.
It wasn't her fault. It was your fault. You have the dangerous animal.
How is it my fault? I told her not to go in my house.
Don't ask me any questions, madam.
And now, the conclusion. Mila Bazin is suing her former employer, Sarah Adams, for lost wages and pain and suffering after being bit by Sarah's pit bull.
Okay, my issue actually is, in addition to everything else, why would a seemingly smart woman have a dog that she would have to warn people about to come to her front door? Why? I say to myself, why? I don't understand that. And when I was preparing for this case today, looking at the complaint and looking at the answer, I could do a little multitasking. I was reading the newspaper. This is today. A 7-year-old Louisiana girl was mauled to death by a neighbor's pit bull after it ran into her family yard. The name of the person is here. A child was laying outside her East Baton Rouge Parish home Friday when the dog barreled onto the property and viciously attacked her. Family member tried to stop the dog by hitting it with a walking cane, but the animal couldn't be deterred. First grader suffered multiple bites to her face and severe skull damage. She died. The dog was euthanized. The dog's owner told the officers he wasn't home during the attack and regularly lets the dog roam the neighborhood. He was charged Saturday with homicide.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. I would go right from charge to execution.
I also have proof that another lady down the street was bitten by...
I'm going to get to you. I'm not finished. I don't understand. I have others because it looks like you look like dog-sitting mom killed by pit bulls. North Carolina woman was mauled to death by 2 pit bulls she was dog-sitting for after the mother warned her to stop watching the animals, according to reports. That's all. Husband came home, found her in the backyard being eaten by 2 pit bulls that she was watching for her son. I don't understand. I have more, but I won't bore you with more. So I don't understand why intelligent people have a dog that they know is capable of killing somebody, of just turning and killing somebody. I don't understand it. I think, insurance companies can legally discriminate against people who have pit bulls by saying, we're not going to insure you. And there's a reason for that.
But, Your Honor, I told her before she left not to go in my house. My dog was not outside. My dog was in my home, protecting my
I want
family.
you to look. I want you to look at the video again. And unless your daughter is a moron and can't follow your instructions, she did not say to her, wait outside.
I understand
She saw,
that.
just a second, she saw her. She was in charge of your home that day. She permitted her to come in and put the drink down. She did that. You want to watch the video again, or do you acknowledge it? So you acknowledge it. So I don't care what you said to her. When she got there, the circumstances were such that your daughter, who is taller than you are, was very happy to have her come in instead of saying, you're not allowed to come into my house because we have this vicious dog.
She's not vicious.
Oh, yes, a dog that bites somebody that's coming in
She was protecting my children in my home.
Just a second. I understand what you're saying, and I'm saying to you that she came in with your daughter within inches from her. And your daughter, when she opened the door, didn't you see the dog?
No, I didn't realize.
What? You didn't realize?
No, it happened so fast. When I entered the door, I then realized, so I came back to rush to stop Mila, but she already got bit. It was too late. So it is my fault.
Right! I love that. It's too bad that you can't teach that to your mother. It's really too bad you can't teach your mother to say, it's my fault. I have a dog that can be vicious. And so far, the dog has not been vicious to my children. I hope for your sake and your brother's sake that one day the dog doesn't get annoyed with one of your brothers. I just hope. I mean, this lady was about your size, the one that was killed by the two pit bulls. An older lady. So I'm hoping your mother chooses to have that instead of double locks taking care of her children. Great. But then she has to pay the consequences. I mean, I have to tell you, I'm old. I'm very old. I'm probably the oldest person that you know. I have never read one article where a Shih Tzu killed a person. That's why I have Shih Tzus. You have Chihuahuas? Yeah. I've never heard about a Chihuahua killing a person. Ever.
Former employer, Sarah Adams, owes for injuries after being bit by Sarah's dog. Sarah says Maya accepted a $300 settlement from the incident.
Now, may I see the note that you had from a previous neighbor?
So this is a text message from Sarah to me stating that the neighbor down the street...
I can read.
Okay.
Nobody can state to you. Okay. What was the name of the other woman that got bit by your dog?
Your Honor, it was my neighbor and...
Just a second. I asked you for a name. Did she get bitten anywhere around this time?
No.
What year?
It was 2020, and it was a dog fight that me and her were both trying to break up.
Just a second. It was 2020.
2021, excuse me.
Okay.
She is my neighbor.
Just a second. So, a year before, when in 2021? Give me a month.
I don't remember.
Summer, fall, winter,
fall.
spring?
It was fall.
So you're talking about September or October?
Somewhere around there, yes.
Was she treated for the dog bite?
No, Your Honor, it was not severe.
The answer is no. She was not treated for her dog bite. Not seen by anybody.
Correct.
Okay, can I see photographs of the dog bite, please?
I also have the first initial appearance that I went to the hospital.
Now you can step back up. I have another question for you. Now you were there. I heard you say from inside, oh, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, at least twice. Now, after this happened, what did the plaintiff do? Yes. After this happened, just you and your two younger brothers were home. What did the plaintiff do? She was sitting outside on the porch.
We came to give her some towels.
Who's we?
My brother.
So you got some towels. I saw she asked you for some towels.
Mm-hmm. And then we tried to give her some Band-Aids.
Put the paper down. You're annoying me.
She said, just let me come in, so I put away the dog.
She said what?
Just let me come in. So I put away the dog, and I put her... She was in my mom's bathroom, and we were fighting Band-Aids and rinsing it off.
And then, I didn't ask you a question. Now she's in your mother's bathroom. She's trying to clean it up, and you put the dogs where?
We have kennels for them, cages.
And kennels?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You have kennels for them that you put them in at what time of day? Or when anybody is coming over? When do you use the kennels?
We use them when we leave, or about to leave, or if somebody's coming over that they haven't met.
Okay. Now, you knew that the plaintiff was coming over. Your mother had told you the plaintiff was coming over.
Yes.
Okay. And did your mother tell you in that phone conversation, would ordinarily ask, because I know I live with people your age and a little bit older, when is McDonald's going to be here? When is it going to be here? Did you ask your mother that question?
No.
Did she give you any indication about how long it would take?
No.
How did you know when plaintiff arrived?
The car pulled up.
So you were looking outside for the car?
Yes.
Great. And when were you looking outside for the car? You knew the food had arrived?
Yeah.
You went outside?
Yes, I closed the door right behind me.
Of course. You closed the door behind you. You went and got the food. There was extra food. She was clearly following you, and you clearly saw that she was following you into the house.
No.
Well, by the time you got to the front door, you want to see it again? You turned around, you saw that she was there, behind you.
That's when I went in the house.
No, right before. Right before. Play it again, Sam. She's now out of the car. You're calling your brothers. Turn around, you look at her and smile, say nothing. She walks in, so you say nothing to her. Got it? Don't come in here. Don't come in, just leave it outside. You're both smiling. Smiling. You want to see it again? No, you were both smiling when you walked in. Play it again, Sam. Okay, thank you. Got it? Got it?
Yeah,
okay,
that's what
very good. Miss Bazine, quite frankly, the only thing that's distressing to me about your complaint is that you're only suing her for $3,500. That's the only thing that is, as far as I'm concerned, you could have just as easily been really seriously injured. And to me, people who keep an aggressive dog, that's an aggressive dog, at home for whatever reason, especially a breed that has been determined to be a potentially dangerous breed of animal, deserves any consequences. This guy, this 20-year-old idiot, is going to jail. If I was sentencing him, he would go to jail for a very long time as an example. Maybe you have to set examples for people who allow innocent people to get killed because they like a particular breed of dog. I mean, I have to tell you, I'm old. I'm very old. I'm probably the oldest person that you know. I have never read one article where a Shih Tzu killed a person. That's why I have Shih Tzus. I've heard them, they nipped my finger maybe, they ripped my stockings, they ate the furniture leg, but I've never read a piece. You have Chihuahuas? You have Chihuahua? Yeah. I've never heard about a Chihuahua killing a person. Ever. Ever. So if you're dumb enough to have a dog, you have to accept the consequences. This guy is going to accept the consequences for his stupidity, for letting his pit bull roam around, by going to jail. And you're going to accept the consequences by paying the exact amount that she's requesting, which is $3,500. Your counterclaim is stupid, and it's dismissed.
Your Honor,
and I'm done with
Your Honor,
you.
we had an agreement that she signed.
I'm done with you.
We had an agreement that she signed.
I was very high on narcotics and coming under the influence of coming out of the hospital. I do not remember signing this. And if it was for her to make me feel better because of what happened.
I'm sorry, Miss Bazin, that's not going to fly with me.
Defendant Sarah Adams is accusing her former employee, Mila Bazin, of harassment after her dog bit Mila. Mila claims she did not agree to Sarah's $300 settlement.
We had an agreement that she signed. She signed the agreement
just a second.
for $300 and we were done.
Okay, I'd like to see that.
Please.
If she...
On top of that, the next day she came back into my house to meet the dog
that
care. Bit her.
I don't care.
What do I
care about that? Why would you bring
got bit? She picked at it. I have all this evidence that she picked at it, and that's what it turned into because she didn't take care of it.
I have to tell you, I don't care whether she took care of it or whether it got infected. If I got bitten by somebody's vicious dog, I don't care whether it got infected or not. That's a traumatic event.
The only reason I was suing.
But just a second. But if you signed a release to her, that's a different story.
No, I didn't.
She signed that paper.
Don't. Why did you sign this? This is the first we know, Kevin.
Can I see it, please? And when is it dated on?
Well, it says this agreement settles a dog bite that happened on 7/18.
This was signed in October, November.
If you shout out again.
Because I was missing all my money. I was not getting paid. I needed something from her.
What do you mean? I don't understand what you mean you weren't getting. Here.
Is there a date on this?
And I do have other things that she signed if you need to verify the signature.
I was very high on narcotics and coming under the influence of coming out of the hospital. I do not remember signing this. And if it was for her to make me feel better because of what happened.
I'm sorry, Miss Bazin, that's not going to fly with me.
Well,
that's not going to fly with me. If you accepted the $300, pay careful attention to what I'm saying before you answer. If you and the defendant in any action can at any time, even without a lawyer, if neither of you have a lawyer, I'm speaking, can settle a claim, if they wish, to settle a claim before getting the courts involved. That can happen. And that should happen in many instances. I'm not quite sure this one, but it certainly should happen more often than not. You settle for less than you were entitled to. You settled for $300. Did she give you $300?
No, Your Honor.
May I see that document, please?
She did not.
Okay, let's see whether
Also
she did.
referring to a car battery?
No. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I agreed to give Mila $300. Did she give it to you?
No.
Show me that you gave it to her. And when?
I gave her cash. It's on camera at work. I handed her at work with my boss there. My boss, you can call him right now.
I'm not calling your
boss.
Listen to me. I'm not calling your boss. That's your problem to prove it.
I also helped her when her car broke down.
I don't
paid
care.
for a battery.
I don't care.
I paid for
Listen
limp
to me.
rides for her.
I don't care. Shh. I don't care. All I want to see is proof that you handed her.
I gave her cash.
$300.
I don't have proof because I gave her cash.
Well, that's a problem for you. Did she give you cash?
Your Honor, no. She helped me out with a car battery, and then she accumulated.
Just a second. It doesn't say that you gave her $300.
Your Honor, she's lying.
It says I agreed to give her.
She's lying. I handed her $300 and had her sign that at work. We did it at work. She's lying.
She threatened
Well,
me.
then I'm going to give this to you. She says you didn't give her the $300. You have no proof that you gave her the $300. You have no proof.
I don't.
You don't have any proof. $3,500. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
I feel like if it would have been a Shih Tzu that bit her and did that damage, I feel like the judge would have gone in my favor.
And I knew I would get justice coming here for pit bulls. She takes care of the community, and I'm so glad that it happened that way.
I had a lot of evidence, and the reason why her bite turned into what it looks like now is because she didn't take care of it. She picked at it.
I was happy to bring the kids food. I'm that type of person.
Because I have documentation of her picking at it. She went to the hospital 4 different occasions.
It's pretty traumatizing.
I know she was fine because I have text messages that prove that she was fine.
And all of a sudden, the dog just got me.
That it was her fault. She knew better than to go in the house.
Right when I walked in, the dog lynched and grabbed my leg.
I walked in, and then I realized there was a voice behind me. I went back and saw that Milo was back, and she got bit by that time, so I went to go help her.
Locked its jaw. The bird tooth went really far down deep. Me and the baby girl both had to hit the dog to get him off of me.
I picked up the dog, and I put her in her kennel.
Very terrifying. I still have PTSD, and even watching that video was shocking.
She was constantly complaining about the dog bite to myself, my boss, slandering me every chance that she got.
Absolutely ridiculous.
And I said, Mila, look, this needs to be settled once and for all.
Bullied me and put me in a position, cornered me, and made me do what she wanted to do. She was my boss, so whatever she said, I had to do.
What do you want? She said, give me $300 and I'll sign something saying we're done. So that's what I did.
I don't know. Some people are different.
So I just wanted to point out a distinction in the articles that you brought in. I know you've been hearing these pit bull cases for decades, and so I understand your outrage every time you see one. But the distinction in the news articles that you brought in today as examples, as well as this case, there's a couple key differences. One, the main one being, in the newspaper articles, the dogs were outside the home, outside the control. And in this case, the defendant wanted to make it especially known that the dog never left her home. However, from a legal standpoint, it's a more egregious charge if you allow your dangerous animal out and about in society without any sort of warning. However, just because it's inside your home doesn't absolve you from that responsibility. The plaintiff was still an invitee into the home. Like you had said, the daughter had every opportunity from the street all the way up the sidewalk, all the way onto the porch, and even into the screen door that you can see on the video opened up. never once said, "Oh, just wait outside." Even with my own dogs. Or leave the food on the porch. Even with my own dogs, golden retrievers. Sometimes I never know if they're going to be overexcited. I say, "Just hang on 1 second out here. Let me make sure they're good." And I make sure they're happy, whatever. And then I say, "Come on in." So she had every opportunity to do that, and she didn't. So, like you had mentioned to her, it's not like the plaintiff was a trespasser or trying to steal or trying to harm her children. And you're still responsible for your dangerous animals, even if they're inside your home.
Yeah.
So just think that's a word to the wise, that it's not just when they're outside your control that you can be held liable.
I thought it was also interesting, now that I think about it and listen to what you're saying, usually when you have a dog that you know is dangerous, because let us assume that I believed her when she said, I said don't go into the house, which I don't believe her. You usually have a sign if you live in a private house and you're using the dog for protection, to have a sign, dangerous dog.
Beware of dog.
Beware of dog, because somebody may come and deliver a package. Open your screen door. You never know when something can happen. So you at least give the public notice that there is potentially a vicious animal inside. You're absolutely right.